Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world. Whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, I welcome you this morning. Family, there's a lot to talk about this morning. There's a lot to talk about this morning. There's so much that it's hard to crack the surface because of things that's going on. We have things going on in Libya. We have things going on in Northern Africa. We have alliances with Russia, China, and North Korea. You have alliances in the Sahel. You have Mexico that's holding parades and have Russians in the parades. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we're not even talking about the Rapture Watch. Oh my goodness. Family, this is a time like no other. And we've been made for this time. But in a little less than a week, we're having our Day of Atonement event, which will be Monday, September 25th, 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on YouTube at Quest to Unite Africa dot or Quest to Unite Africa. If you feel led to donate, please visit questtouniteafrica.org. Again, that's going to be for those that are still here after the rapture on September 23rd. That's still on my calendar. We have digital banks now with digital tokens, tokenizing your cash. Here's the thing, family. You ain't going to have no more money in a few months. It's not going to be funny when the bank says you ain't got no money. Most High has a sense of humor because I know exactly how that felt earlier this month. And now he's about to lay it on these folks. Oh my goodness. Let's see how they react. For them, their reaction is going to be based off of, man, everybody's getting it. You don't have my money, everybody's getting it. These folks are going to start fighting. Why are why will they fight? Why will they go to war? Simple. They're saying where's their money? So today, as promised, I have the StreamYard up and going. So if you are brave enough, come on up. Let's talk about these things because there's a lot of things to talk about. Brother George, Brother Asaph just said, look, Azerbaijan just went to war. Yesterday we tried to have Congo Brazzaville trying to hide their coup, which is going currently as we speak. It's just too much all happening all at once. Too fast, too furious. Ludacris is coming out with Too Fast is Too Furious. You got stealth fighter jets just flying on their own, and nobody knows where it's flying at. I just want to know, how dangerous is that in your airspace and you don't know where your jet's at? It's so stealth, we need help finding our airplane, finding our jet. Something's going on with that one. I'm not going to believe all the hype on that one. And the fact that they had to broadcast that out, that's a problem. Is it human error? Is it machine error? hmm So, family, I got the link on up there. That would have been easy, brother Asaph. Just get her a pigeon. Here's your gray parrot. Just bag a pigeon. So there's information overload going on. Folks in the military not really enjoying themselves nowadays. Gen Z not really wanting to be recruited nowadays. Brother Mike, it looks
Shalom,
like
brother.
to
How you
me,
doing this morning?
hey, Shalom, it looks like to me there's a lot of craziness going on. It says elites leave Washington. Something's going on. It
Um,
won't be the
I'm saying the
last to
same
know.
thing. Yeah.
hmm
Uh, I mean, this move is so quick. You know, if we go back to the beginning of this year, we were saying that we'll see next week what they have, and next week it was something different. But now here we are approaching the end of this year, and it's like something is happening daily until eventually it's going to turn to hourly.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be something that's going to events are going to be happening within the same day before you can before you can get used to one event, another event will be happening right then and there. And Yah
Hmm.
said he's going to speed it up in its own due time.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just looking at that, and it appears that it is speeding up. And and I'm kind of surprised. I haven't heard from Jacoby lately. Uh, you know, Seeing this cool with um, these cools popping off. I mean, don't get me wrong, brother. I'm kind of happy that these coups are happening. These brothers, they starting to see things, and let's just take the brothers out of it. Yah has turned his attention back to his people.
Hmm.
That is what's happening. You know, it's not something of their own doing, because Yah kept them in a in a slave position, slave mind thinking, because of our forefathers' disobedience. And but after so long, what is it, 2019? Ever since 2019, this system world has been going downhill. You've been, oh man, up there in Libya, North Libya, Morocco. That flood went in on Libya. Man, I mean, it went in. It's like this flood just went down to the crevice of that land. Of
Hmm.
course, when when it started to recede, the building started to fall,
Hmm.
and I was like, wow. And if you go back and look at the videos, um, and you'll see all the mud how it receded back into the ocean. You'll see the different colors of the ocean,
Mm.
how much it went in. And I was like, then they say it's global warming.
Hmm.
The world does not want to say, hey, we're being judged. We're gonna call it something else though. We're gonna call it global warming, and everybody go believe it. And the masses are believing it.
Yeah.
They're believing it. And that's I mean, that's that's something that is that caught has been catching my attention. Uh,
Hmm.
so and there's some things I I um I don't watch TV like I used to, because events things are popping off so quick. It's not saying I'm trying to be nosy. I just rather stay awoke, because now you have all these. Wait a minute, you got somebody else is on the line that got cares?
Yeah, I got other folks.
Oh, I
I was
thought it was.
gonna,
I
I
mean,
was
I
gonna
thought
let
it was
you,
me.
I was gonna let you preach your 30 minutes, so you stayed with 30.
No, I mean, no, I wasn't even looking at it, and that's because I'm on my phone. And my phone is running slow. The computer running slow. I said, yeah,
Yeah.
I know it did.
You,
know,
you know, you know,
they
the
they
funny
got
thing is
something going
Cash
on.
App. Yeah, Cash App was down, and Cash App has been down like a lot over the last like 3 or 4 days. I'm like, this is crazy. You know, it's like, sorry, we got hit with
Oh,
this, or
for
we
real?
get, yeah. There's a lot of things that's getting hit. Um, but they're not going to tell you when you're in the middle of a cyber incident that you're in a, a cyber incident. And honestly, I look at these things as we're now kind of at that phase, right? We're now primed that um, whenever you have these are the beginnings of, your war operations. things of that nature, messing with communications, things of that nature. Folks are now talking about, look, there are now real shortages coming through. There are now real shortages that's really starting to be noticeable. So, we're in a time. It's not the time that were we may be fighting. Now people know we're about to fight. It's just going to be what that time frame is going to be. Shalom, brother Fast Nickel.
mm.
Shalom, brothers. You know,
Shalom, brother.
I don't pay attention to everything that's going on with Africa. I get my information mostly from when I listen here. As you know, for me, I'm big in crypto. I'm always paying attention to what's going on there.
Hmm.
And so, when I sent you the article last night regarding what's going on with the fifth largest bank in Australia, what's also interesting is in a different article that I didn't send, Citibank, Chase, and I think it was Bank of America.
Hmm.
They are behind the scenes working on their digital format and their digital token. And one of the things that this one commentator was saying is that these banks are doing things behind the scenes,
Hmm.
which the thing is, when they implement stuff, the general public is not even going to know it's in place. And what's going to happen is we're going to have that whole frog in the boiling water situation where people who are not paying attention, by the time they realize what's happened, it will be it's going to also be like that Twilight Zone episode of the alien who had the cookbook and talking about how to man, or how to cook man, and people not going to realize until it's too late.
Hmm.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
Yeah,
Mm.
the digital tokens. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Technically speaking, all of our money is just electronic anyway.
Correct.
So all they're doing is just they're saying, look, now because of or the money stream is electronic, we're just going to transmit it, and now that transmission is going to be, now a digital token. So now the money's tokenized, which means that you're now controlled, and then it's going to be, here comes UBI, here comes CBDC, here comes everything that then controls your way of thought, right? So you're thinking if it's contrary, our credit's going to be messed up. I know Jacoba's credit's going to be just zero.
Well, they keep talking about that social credit system.
Hmm.
The one thing that these articles constantly talk about, which is why I'm so bullish. I know that some people are not, but I'm bullish on XRP and XLM
Hmm.
because these articles constantly keep talking about cross-border payments. And that is one of their biggest issues. And the SWIFT system is so archaic, it's so slow. Um, these are the thing that I've always said for the last 10, 15 years. Don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they do.
Hmm.
Mm.
Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Shalom, brother Garth.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Shalom, everyone. Um, I really um wasn't gonna talk so much about what's happening. I just wanted to give an update on how the Most High is working in my life. I know I've been like Eeyore in the chat last week, but this weekend um, I got my loans deferred, and that's what I was stressing about, not having money to pay those. And my financial situation has, you know, turned out, it's looking better now that that's happened, and that was a blessing in and of itself. So I was just calling. I mean, you know, letting people know that the Most High is working in my life, and your prayers and your blessings are working. And even when I don't see it, um, he's still making a way for all of us. So that's all I wanted. Well, not all, because the other day I was at the bank, right? And I was inside those inside because it was Sunday, so I was using like the ATM machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like giving me a little bit of problems. So I took a little bit longer, but there was this lady behind me, and she's like, "Is there something wrong with the machine?" And I'm like, the way she said it, was just like so off-putting. I was just like, no, I don't think so. It's just taking long. I'm just doing what I need to do here. If it's gonna, if it's gonna inconvenience you, or if it's gonna take too long, I just go somewhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, she just shut up. But it was like some Karen that got like, it wasn't. It could have been. I could have like misinterpreted, but I don't think I did. She was
Well,
just.
yeah. So let me just also tell you this: machines have been uh, acting funny.
Oh yeah.
They've been
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they've been acting funny all over. So just think about that. If you've been trying to go to your sixth or seventh ATM machine, right?
yeah,
You know
but
what I'm saying? So
these people are uncouth, man. You just don't know how to talk to people. Just don't. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's
Well,
always the
they're
women
getting
too. It's always
they're
them.
getting
It's always the
unsettled.
women.
They're getting unsettled because now they're going through a lot of inconvenience, right? These are
Mm-hmm.
inconveniences that they've never really had to
Oh.
deal with before. You get what I'm saying? Like we deal with inconveniences all the time, so that's not a big thing to us. But when they deal with inconveniences, they don't understand how their tone looks and how it's projected, and that's the same attitude that they bring to the continent. And people look at them, the continent, like you probably could have phrased that a little bit better. You probably could have had a little less attitude, because it is very off-putting how they address things in their discomfort. And this is all it is to them. They're in an uncomfortable situation because they haven't seen this before, and now they're seeing it before. Think about this. You just had Bank of America not even give back the deposits that they literally took from people, what, 3 4 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, think about now when you're going to the bank and it's like, I just put money in the bank. Is that money going to be there? you
Yeah,
know, you know
I understand, bro, cares, but like, you could catch you could catch honey with bees or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, you get more honey with bees than you do vinegar. But do you see what I'm saying? But that's them cracking apart. And you're seeing them cracking apart. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you look, don't, you know, be wise
I'm
as
not gonna
what?
lie.
Be
I
wise as
I was
serpents and
like,
what? And as gentle as doves, right? Because these
that's
folks are
true.
starting to lose their minds,
I said
right?
it. I said it nice. I think I said it nice. I think I said it nice. I said it in the most assertive way you could say it without, you know, cursing her out or anything. It's just like, I'm doing this right now. I mean, it may take a while. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but if it's gonna inconvenience you, you can just go to another, ATM. That's basically what I said. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to
Bro,
wait.
I'm gonna give you this encouragement too, brother Garth. I was making early this year. I was bringing home, $10,000, $20,000 a month. I knew it was going to get bad. I did. In 2019, this is what I did. I said to myself, because I had enough money, I'm gonna find me a house, and I was gonna take out a mortgage, but y'all had me think about it again. And I said, I'm gonna go ahead and pay cash for it. I went on to pay cash for it, and I'm so happy that I did it because now, man, my business is like rock bottom. I'm hours from being broke, but it don't phase me. It doesn't phase me. I know what it takes to live. I know exactly what it takes to live because I would tell a lot of people this. Uh, we all are going to be broke. I don't care how you see it. We all will be broke. We will all be on the same totem pole. It's going to happen. They can sit up here and call you night and day about your loans and whatever you got and things of that nature. Bruh, the people that's calling you, they broke too.
Hmm.
Think about that. They broke. They calling you to try to hold on to their job. Eventually, the people that's calling you is going to get laid off. Everybody's going to be on the same totem pole. My encouragement to anyone: keep money and these the things that we may have incurred, our debt. This is something that they are doing.
Yes.
That's the thing. This is something that they are doing.
Hmm.
Majority of people are not doing this to themselves. The system, the way it's set up, they have that power over us, millions of people, and they're using it now. And I would tell anybody, don't be stressing out on no vehicle. If they go come, let them come and get it. Man, they ain't picking up those vehicles like they used to. My sister's car sat at my mother's house for 2 whole years. My mother was calling the people, will you please come and get this car? And that's the funny thing. I
I
just
ain't
like,
making no more payments on this car. Y'all need to get it because the grass is just way too high on this sucker. I've been waiting to cut that piece of grass for a little bit.
You got Dog
Man.
the Bounty Hunter looking for you.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the thing, brother Garth, man. And you know, you got my support, brother. I'm serious. But I try my best to keep all that stuff. You call it for what, man? Please. I know the people on the other end are broke, so that's how I look at it, and I keep it moving.
Well, that's really telling because it really does tell you that this nation is actually broke, and now it's the other countries really alerting, them that they're broke. And if you're broke, think about it. You ain't got the power that you used to have, which is why they're going through the issues that they're going through. Brother Yakoba,
What's up, family? How's it going?
Brother Yakoba, I know you're
There he
busy.
is. What's up, brother? What's up, Nicole?
I
I heard
appreciate
Mike
you.
mention my name. I say, let me get on now.
Keep my name out your mouth. No, I'm just- no.
Yeah, but God, you're not by yourself. Everybody broke, busted, and disgusted. That's just the way it is today. And for most of us, you're not gonna hear nothing. We're not gonna talk about it. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
hopefully they bring in a universal basic income. But the whole thing is like you haven't heard me talking too much about the stuff because it's like, what am I gonna say? What I
Mhm.
told you? You see what I'm saying? I'll be repeating myself, right? All the stuff I've been teaching for all the years is now coming to pass. You
Well,
know,
but Jacob, I thought that every time something happens, you do that "I told you so" Cabbage Patch, and then
I
you're
got
throwing up,
tired of that.
and
I
then you're
got
throwing up,
tired.
and then you're throwing up hand signals.
Yeah, I got tired of it. I got a lot of my own issues I got to deal with, and the way I feel about it, if the Most High don't show up, we're all screwed. That's how I feel about it. So it's better for me to be quiet, right? Because
Hmm.
uh, we're in some stuff, and how many times you gonna tell people the same old stuff, right? I mean, literally everything I've been teaching coming to pass. We're
Hmm.
finally here. 2024 gonna be hell. We're gonna have World War III. Everybody gonna be on a
Mhm.
universal basic income, gonna be tokenized. You ain't gonna have no cash. Then they're gonna have social tracking. Then guess what? Probably the mark of the beast, right? If we're not out of here. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Same thing like, with the whole thing, people hitting back on the uh, you know, uh Israel not in Africa crap. I'm like, they on basic 101 stuff. I'm like, they don't even cover the topics I already covered. They don't watch the videos and they trying to tell me I'm wrong. I'm like, just sit back and watch. You'll find out just like everything else I've been teaching. I'm not bragging or nothing. I'm just saying that obviously the Most High must be showing me something.
Well, it's funny because it's very see. I've been there. I've been to that area.
Mm.
And even when you're in that area, it's kind of like something's a little off here. Because if this is the promised land and it's supposed to be lush and green, how come it's dirt? This dirt just wasn't here because, everything just, they'll have some sort of fantastic, wild story. But then you go down to sub Saharan Africa and you see how lush and green everything is. And it's like, well, that explains things a lot more than what we've been told.
Yeah, but what they're gonna tell you is that, well, it's desolate. It's supposed to be desolate. But yeah, if you read the scriptures in context, it states that it's going to be ruined,
Inhabited.
right? It's going to be
Hmm.
dried, uninhabited, which means no
Yeah,
people
that's the
there,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a ghost city, right? And here's the
And
thing:
and that's what the president of Uganda had said. I forgot what his name was. 70. Was 70 said he said Africa's mainly empty.
Exactly. And do you remember like where I believe Jerusalem is, I believe it's over there in Ethiopia. But y'all remember the Ethiopian famine, right? Y'all remember
Hmm.
all that? How bad that was? That's like the worst famine ever in history, right? Little babies
Yeah,
with the bellies coming out and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
the
That was in the
flies.
Hmm.
highlands. That
Yep.
was in the highlands of Ethiopia. But you know what I'm saying? I can't teach people no more who don't want to listen. And when I do all the research and show you that the authors considered Euphrates in the beginning, right? It was called Ephra. I showed the maps where Euphrates was in Africa and the African maps, but that don't matter. They still using the modern one. I'm like, it just don't
Hmm.
make no sense. I'm done with it. I'm not talking about it no more. I'm like, just sit back and watch. That's how I feel about it.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. The
Mm.
Jordan really is a Yarmuk, and who knows what river that is over there in Iraq.
Like I did a post about the fact that there are four rivers coming out of out of the main source, which was in Africa, which we know because the scripture says that Gihon uh was in the land of Cush, right?
Mhm.
Or modern translations Ethiopia, but they all come from the same source. So if one of the sources is in Ethiopia, how in the heck you get Euphrates and Tigris over there in the Middle East when one of the supposed four rivers that came out, go look at it, Pishon and all that's supposed to be like, Tigris and Euphrates, the sources in Africa, but now Euphrates is over there in the Middle East and in Tigris. It don't make no
Yeah,
sense. And they're
yeah.
not
Coming
coming
from
from
the
the same
Persian,
source.
yeah, exactly. Coming from the Persian Gulf. Yeah, it's yeah. There's a lot of inconsistencies there, but you got to remember, this is just called brainwashing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't know how powerful brainwashing is until you now see. Look. I'm glad you're on here, brother Yakoba, because what are they going to do when September 23 comes around and the rapture isn't on schedule
They
as
just gonna push it out again.
Oh boy. Yeah. Better go ahead and listen to some Anita Baker. That's the
I mean,
closest you're
how
going to get.
how many times they pushed it out, y'all?
well, Gentiles here that's still believing in the rapture. Look, since September 23 is coming around, why don't y'all just give us $10,000 to Quest Unite Africa? We can do something special with that. Since you ain't gonna be around in 4 days anyway, do something special. Tell
Get,
the Most High
You're
you
right.
paid
That,
reparations
that is
before
the
you
point.
get to the throne.
give Karen some of them tokens if he was Citibank.
tell, before you get to the mercy seat, tell the Most High what you did for for your forefathers' sins. There you go. How's that?
It's not even.
And I
Yeah, that's
mean,
the
then
rapture, ain't it?
they the rapture. Then they got this the UFOs. I mean, man, they come with everything, and now everybody's recognizing this is
Isn't it
nothing but a
wearisome
big
though?
bowl of distraction.
Mike,
That's
Yeah,
isn't
look.
it
Yeah,
wearisome though?
I'm gonna say we need to find them
it
churches that's
is.
pushing the September 23 rapture, and we're gonna be like, all right, cut that check and have it payable for September 23. Because I'm gonna cash that check. We gonna go to the bank on that one. Y'all gonna make Quest to Unite Africa a very wealthy nonprofit.
And when all those people disappear, I think about all those clothes we could give to the less fortunate.
All the clothes in the cars, right? And there's their look. That's how the Most
God,
High,
you killed me.
that's how the Most High is gonna answer prayers. Because guess what? There goes the heavy duty construction equipment going over to the continent, right? Make sure you sign that deed to Quest to Unite Africa and just put it up in the windshield of your of your forklifts
Look,
and your
look, Karis, they know they're not
bulldozers.
gonna be here, but they still don't want to give a Negro no money.
I know,
Hey,
I know.
hey, Karis. Hey, Karis.
Show your
Check.
faith, brother.
Hey, Karis.
Show your
Karis.
faith.
There might be something to that, Karis. I mean, and I hope I'm not putting a cap on anyone in this chat or on this panel, but if people been eating those 1 and 50 cent and free burgers, there might be something that'll happen on the 23rd.
Oh yeah, for the National Burger Day or something like that. That
Give me
yeah.
virtual burgers before I eat that.
The last day of it is on the 22nd. Go figure.
Mm, mm, mm.
Bro-
Yeah, you're
Brother
gonna be
Karras,
raptured all right.
Brother Karras, may I ask a question?
Yeah, hold on to that question, brother Fast Nickel. Let me get Sister Newbie and me in. Shalom,
Sure.
Sister Newbie and me.
Shalom, salam. Blessed Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, the head of the new year. We're all getting the information, getting our head straight, and just dealing with all this. Just so much information. Just want to big up Brother Yakoba being on here and thanking him for just staying on the horn and letting people know. Um, Sometimes deciphering this, sometimes it's not easy for ones to see. The common sense ain't common, and a lot of times, like the old prophets had to deal with that, just really trying to let one see what's really happening. But I want to give thanks to you, Brother Yakoba, for just taking on this information and just spreading it out throughout our community and just keeping ones updated. And the one thing I'm gonna say, Brother Kobe, is back it up, back it up, back up. Meaning in terms of, I'm sure you're ready to do that. Just for everything that you're recording, back it up because back in 2008, 2009, 10, 11, a lot of our rabbis, shout out to Rasadonis from Lion and Judah Society. I mean, he was bringing on a lot of information and it accrued. But what YouTube does too, sometimes they'll let you accrue so much information and knowledge and just the prophecy, and then they will pull your channel, and then that information is just done. So we give thanks that everyone, if you guys get Jacob's information, back it up, record it, have a backup for it. But I just want to say I give thanks to everybody and everyone on the field because this knowledge has been around. It just hasn't been circulated as much. But the fact that we see that others are coming to this harvest and it's coming so fast and furious, it's a blessing. So everybody keeps doing what they're doing now. Also, Garth, um, no preocupes, pa inquiete, don't worry. Thank goodness for that loan deferment. But yo, bro, don't even worry about it because even Quest to Unite Africa, once that gets off and rolling, that'll be deferred because you work for a nonprofit. So the Most High is deferring it. It's not our bill; it's what they owe us. So never even don't even sweat a loan payment ever. I just want to tell you that as a first generation American, here from the
Wait,
island.
wait,
Nah,
wait, wait,
nah.
wait, wait. Repeat that, please, for our
I
folks
said,
in the
don't
back.
even
No,
sweat. Oh, about
wait,
the
no,
deferment?
yeah, the nonprofit deferment.
Yeah,
Because
when you work
y'all
for a
need to understand
nonprofit,
this.
can get deferred, and especially if you work for the U.S. government
Hello?
too.
Did she go off?
No,
Now
I'm
she,
right
Or did
here.
I go off?
now
Oh,
yeah, you popped out and popped back in, Sister New Baby. Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, there's some little loopholes. You work for a nonprofit, also work for the state, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. but a good nonprofit like Quest Unite Africa, and don't worry, you that thing will be deferred. Again, and I also want to tell you, brother, Garth, especially my little brother, for everyone is in this time. This is for everyone. I'm really kind of talking to myself, reminding myself, and remind my children while we're coming up to this, the Rosh Hashanah, the Yom Kippur, that is the time of atonement. And that literally is the time for us to be in tune, to get in tune. Just like an instrument has to be in
I
tune
wanna I wa
to
I wanna
Yahweh's.
ask I wanna ask you this because maybe,
Mm.
Jacoba would probably be able to answer this.
But I just
Rosh
want to tell Garth,
Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. I
head of the new year.
I'm trying to figure that if someone could give me a scripture for that.
Well, I don't know if it's a scripture. I think
What
it's
is
more
it?
like calendar, the head of the new year. Because you remember Ethiopian New Year was September 11th. So this is the Hebraic head of the new year. I think it's just more of like a calendar thing. And
Well,
then we have
yeah,
Yom Kippur, and then
because
all
I'm
these
trying to
seasons of Sukkot that are really fall seasons that are imperative. Even actually Caribbean people have been doing these fall festivals, but they've been doing it in April. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'll let Brother Yokoba. But Garth, I just have a message for
yeah.
you. I know that lady got on your nerves, and I'm talking to everybody. People will be getting on our nerves this time, but we need to tune it in and keep it humble because sometimes that could be a test. Now, as much as you know, sometimes we grew up around so many European people or go to school with them. Sometimes we're still a little resentful. So, Brother Garth, just like really work on, yeah, some of them could be irritating. Some of them are in our family. Some of them are in our genetic bloodlines. But you really just need to really just chill, relax, leave it up to the most Mashiach, and just walk in humility. All of us. I'm talking to all of us. But I know you're young, and sometimes when we're on fire, we want to burn everybody. But sometimes at the end of the day, we can burn ourselves, and that could be judgment that the enemy could be using against us because he knows the prejudices that we have. So sometimes you can use that around this time as well. So I'm just talking for myself and any of the brothers and sisters, and especially the young people out there. Auntie Tati Nunu is just letting you know. Just keep it calm. We're supposed to be in tune. We're tuning into the Mashiach. We're supposed to sound, look, feel like him. We can't be letting Karens or even Shaniquas or anybody, what other colors, anybody get under our skin. We need to be in tune. We're being healed right now around this time. So I'll pause for the cause. Give thanks.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to know that because Rosh Hashanah to me has always been an Ish or an Ashkenaz calendar and they try to always say it's a new year. That's not a new year. Spring is a new year. Spring was life. And that's why, I want to make sure, look, they're going into a season is what? This is a season of death to them. If you ever notice that, why do they always celebrate Halloween and things of that nature? That's the season of death for them. It literally is, they celebrate that. They celebrate, the Jason movies, the scary movies, you know. Because why? Because they know that the harvest has come in. Now we celebrate the harvest because why? Because that's the season that we do what? We give thanks and we store away for what? For sustenance until we get through those winter months, traditionally speaking, the months that aren't as fruit bearing and things of that nature. On the continent, yeah, it's things are fruit bearing 24/7, just like here in Florida,
Yeah,
you know. So, I want us to make sure that look, we don't want to be just on out there celebrating different things because they say so, right? And I always like to say, you know, we have a better understanding of these times and seasons more so than they do because their times and seasons
exactly.
they come from
They were copying
Babylonian and
us. They were
well
copying us. That just means the
well
head
No, they
of
was
the
they
copying that. They went into the Talmud. They got a lot of their stuff from the Talmud. That's what got
No,
Israel in
this
trouble was the
Rosh
Talmud.
Hashanah, the head of the new year. Isn't it ironic that this is Ethiopia's new year? I mean,
It
they're
was it,
plagiarizing.
well,
They're
yeah, but
plagiarizing.
even Ethiopia per se got it from the Babylonian and Roman societies, right? Because you have to always look at,
No.
yeah, you always have to look at what the word
Remember,
says.
the Ethiopian church came from the Coptic society. That's what we have to understand. A lot of this
And where
Ethiopians
did
were brown on brown. We
and
weren't dealing with white on
what
white,
was
white on
influenced
brown. It was
and how
brown.
was that influenced?
It
Just
was
because it
okay.
So
Okay.
it's just like saying that, well, we celebrate Christmas. Well, Christmas came from the Ethiopians. Not really, but somebody can argue that because why? Well, it celebrates Christ's birth, but all the other stuff that's in there not necessarily going to be the case. So we have to understand how those traditional framing went, how they tried to do the framework. Now, they'll put it to, and it's just to sow confusion and discord. That's honestly what it is. Because when you look at it in the word, it's like, where is this? Where, you know, we have to be really very understanding because we don't want to be deceived in these last time and and literally the time of the end for them, the time of the end of our captivity, the time of the
Exactly.
end of their Gentile rulership. And that Gentile rulership, let's just tell you, it's all being exposed. Every single thing that's on out there. And if you really wanted to understand, where their traditional homelands at, their traditional homeland, they'll say it, Ulam. And Benjamin Netanyahu said that like a week or two ago, and that ruffled feathers. Why is it Ulam, Ukraine? You may say. Well, that's the same places that they're fighting over right now. Right? Now you can start to understand why Putin is fighting so much because they know what they're trying to do to Khazaria 2.0. Brother Yakoba, do you think that that's interesting that that was said by Putin?
Yeah, but it's
All right, you there, Brother Yakoba? He might have stepped away.
Hey, Karis, the one thing I want to say real quick
Yeah,
is
go ahead,
that
Brother Rojo. Go ahead.
a lot of people and a lot of people, even in the Israelite community amongst us, we always have a very bad habit of conflating Ethiopia with Assyria. So that's why, because Cush's descendant went and took over Assyria. I think he became Nimrod, but that's neither here nor there. It's just that, and I agree with you on the whole Rosh Hashanah thing. I'm not sure about it. I've heard other platforms bring it up, and I'm like, that's something novel to me.
Hmm.
So I was, wanting to probably, reach out to Yakoba one day about that, but because I'm not sure about it, I'm not gonna acknowledge that. And the whole thing about Christmas, I forget the verse, but people need to read about that. That is directly
Jeremiah
speak
chapter 10.
exactly, and that's speaking to Nimrod's for lack of a better word, phallus.
Hmm.
And you can look up the story, story and the history about that. But yeah, people need to really watch what they celebrate, what they call out for us to acknowledge.
Well, interesting, and I'm not a scholar on this, but even some of the comments, there's a Yafe Ben Daoud. He says the same day that they celebrate Rosh Hashanah, we're supposed to be celebrating the Yom Teruah, the blowing of the
Hmm.
shofar. So
Yeah.
the point is, we're in the seasons, and so yes, we understand that there's been mix up and miss up, and I mean, some of us listening right now just found out yesterday that Sabbath is Saturday. Am I not correct on that? So I understand that the Most High is teaching it's all of us, and we're all coming to our point of view. But definitely, if ones can come on and teach us a little bit more about what's happening, whether Rosh Hashanah is still part of the season, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, is still coming here. Sukkot is still coming around the corner. So it's still about the seasons. It's about that's why the Most High gave us the stars and the moons and the clocks up there. So nevertheless, we still got to be getting ready and preparing. Like you prepare for a vacation, right? You start packing a couple days ahead. You ain't gonna pack 2 hours before your flight, right? So it's in that same order. So I'm sorry if I'm mentioning days that we're not totally familiar with, but it's still in that season, regardless if the enemy tries to counterfeit it.
Yeah, and that's what I just want to say. Look, be careful of the counterfeits, right? And that's what we're seeing in this society. Everything is a counterfeit, right? But you don't know what you're counterfeiting to, So don't put your stock in something. That's a dangerous thing. And that's why I always have to address something. Because on this platform, you put something on out there and I don't address it, I'm gonna be accountable. The Most High will put me to account.
Yeah.
That's why I always open up my mouth and say, "No, let's take this on. Let's figure this thing on out." Because why? Because you don't understand how much life and death your tongue carries, especially to the masses. You don't
Hmm.
understand that. And if you are doing that and you're pushing that on out there, then guess what? You're gonna get judged. And then I'll be judged because I didn't challenge what was said to not have the error being spread. What happened to us all the time when error was always spread? We got judged. And that judgment usually
The
came
whole camp
about
got
with
judged.
exactly. That judgment came about where people were dying over
Hmm.
fallacy. Now we're in a time, it's like, look, people dying over fallacy, people are dying over misinformation. They're literally killing themselves over misinformation. And you want to know what that misinformation is? The biggest one, the biggest misinformation is white supremacy, which is vanity. That's the biggest misinformation. And they're going to have that to the time that they either expire or they are told, look, that's it, it's done, it's over with. And we're seeing this right now. We're in that time and we're in that age. Look, question, you have to question. Father, is this correct? What is this? I'm not going to be celebrating Halloween and be like, oh, it's a holy day of All Saints Day where we're you know
You know why I
celebrating our
haven't
ancestors. Go ahead, brother Jacob.
You know why I've never taught on the feast days and all these things and the calendars, because it's so complex. Just like according to the scriptures, they wanted to remove us far away from our land, right? So we wouldn't even know where
Right.
it's at. It's the same thing with these feast days and holidays and times, right? Which is tied to the stars, which is tied to the land we're at. When we see the moon, sun, moon, and stars, or whatever, right? But like the modern Judaism, they follow lunar solar,
Hmm.
right? But according to the scriptures, is lunar, right?
Exactly.
They made it lunar solar. The scripture says it's lunar. The Bantu, they follow lunar. Some of the other
Yes.
African tribes, they follow lunar. And so, like, how do you determine, the feast days? Then it's definitely got to be from a continent perspective and not from a North America
Exactly.
perspective. And so, like, even
Hmm.
like what Karis was saying about September, not being the start of the new year, right? I'm like, that's possible. I see. That's what I'm saying. For me, I don't know. It makes sense to me that it would be spring, but we don't know. We're so far removed. That's why I haven't even said anything about it, because it's confusing to me.
Yeah,
I
I
and
be
don't
and
know
looking
if
at
it's
and,
that.
and,
the,
and
I don't
here's
know if
it.
it's
And
the
here's the
new
thing
year. The new year is definitely
on the
spring.
continent, that probably may be correct on the continent because you understand they're kind of going through their spring season towards summer in December, January, or in February. That's their summer season. That's the hot season. But yeah, I would definitely question the Rosh Hashanah because to me, I believe that is very Talmudic in its origin. I do
What
believe
I
that. I just
True,
want
but
to
I
make
do
sure
know
that
that they're not
that
in the
we
Talmud, but I do know in certain cultures there's a splitting. Now I don't know again, I don't, but there's this like the year, definitely the new year is in spring, but there's something that happens, in the half, because there's half. September to April is half. It's half of the month. It's half of the year. So I think it's not saying it is in year. I think it's probably saying the half of the year or ahead of the. But again, I don't know enough to even go there. But I don't think they're saying that it's it. But anyway, I'll go with Yom Torah. We just gotta blow the trumpets. Okay, it's almost halfway. We're almost
Yeah,
halfway through.
yeah,
Okay, we're
we're
not come on. We're
yeah.
not
And
understand.
10 days after the Feast of Trumpets is what the Day of Atonement, right? And that's where we're at in the season, you know. So I want to make sure. Look, we're all getting better day by day. Because here's the thing: we haven't been in a time where you're getting information. I mean, historical information that we have been, you know, exposed to. Think about this. We're getting exposed to the continent. Who would have ever thought in this day and this time that we would have so much exposure to the continent? I reached on out to Swahili Nation on behalf of Question Night Africa, and we got a response for them yesterday. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we can get that together, because I would like to do that as something collaborative, right? Or maybe on a shared Swahili Nation Quest Unite Africa channel. Brother Yacob, if you want to get on this, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? But the information is there because why? Because if you understood, when you go and take those trips, those flights to sub-Saharan Africa, you know, I'm gonna tell you this, and Mike can attest to this with his own eyes. You'll always see a group of people on that flight, usually Ashkenaz, on that flight going down to sub-Saharan Africa. You always will see it without fail. Because why? Because they go there to learn the traditions. That's what they do. They go there to study the Hebrew culture.
That's true. Do you
They
remember
used
the
to go
Did
to
you
video?
know?
Africa in the
Do you,
'90s all
do
day
you
long.
remember the video I showed where they went down there to talk to the tribe of Dan? They know where everybody at, right? They go down there
Yeah,
and get all our information.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. They
I
know
went to
who. They
school with
know.
some
Yeah, go
of
ahead. Go ahead.
them who were just going to East Africa like it was just their place. I was like, really? Yeah, that's what's going on now. I remember.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, they're
they
not.
they
They're
wrote
not
a
dumb.
letter. They wrote a letter to the Igbo asking them to ordain them as priests for them to come to Israel and
Hmm.
ordain them, but they turned them down. I don't, when that brother read that letter, it was kind of shocking to me. But at the same time, they're not. We're the only one who publicize who we are. When y'all woke us up, we hit that. We hit the concrete running. We went in and went. We went in and beyond the evidence of the scriptures, and we took in some history. That conversation. Uh, we don't concentrate on that no more. We know who we are, and the world know who we are. Now, what these people are doing, or at least, well, I can't say they doing it. Now you got some of them saying, yeah, we know that some of the African Americans are the lost tribe of Israel. We're not lost, we were scattered.
Hmm.
And so here we are. Um, I mean, I agree with what Karis is saying. We're just waking it up. And some of this stuff, especially when it comes to the Talmud, I'm very cautious. I ran up on some Hebrew brothers, and they study the Talmud. I was like, whoa. Now, and the thing I said to this sister, I said, you do know that's what got our people in trouble. The Talmud came from, they started writing that roughly, I think, around when they was in captivity in Babylon.
Hmm.
And she said, yes, but it has some very pertinent information. pertinent information that'll get you fried. And she was so much into it. She talked about her and her husband. They had like a 1-year-old child, and I was just kind of shocked. And I think this time we're very cautious. We're very cautious. We try to stick to the scriptures that we know of, and not to tradition that was taken up by our forefathers, and they penned it and they call it the Talmud. That's where that book comes from. That's exactly where it's come from. But a lot, and you know, Karis, we had this conversation Sunday. um, when it's the outside information that gets us in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It's that outside information always gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I go in on my past religious affiliation with Jehovah's Witnesses. All of their books, all of the books, excuse me, are supposedly explains the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that can explain the scriptures is us.
Yes.
They don't see that, and they don't want to believe that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me
We're the only ones
also
that
tell you. Let me also tell you this, because shout out to brother Dante Fortson. You know, he doesn't need to do a hit
of
piece
that.
on me because I always say shout out. I always give him the accolades that he deserves, because with the whole thing with him and Dr. Brown, if you want to call him a doctor, and I think that that's whoever credentialed his doctorate probably needs to be reviewed, because that is the worst, in my
I agree.
opinion, as a doctoral student. And I can say this as a doctoral student, his brand of research, I wouldn't even be considered to get even my independent research board passed to do doctoral work, to do doctoral research.
That's
And
all he had, Karis. he,
you know
he
what I'm
had nothing
saying?
else.
And it's sad, because I'm like, don't put your do don't if you have a doctorate, don't even put the school that you came from, because that will get the school in trouble. That if that's what you learned, if that's what you trained, wow, that is sad, because you never go off of just hearsay. Do as I say. No, no. You want scholarly, peer reviewed articles. You want to go to the evidence. And I looked at that, and I'm just looking at it. It's just atrocious to me, in academia's sakes, because I like academia for academia. Because here's the thing: the we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and when you're trying to listen to somebody that has no knowledge, and they're saying, well, because these are my sources, and the sources don't even have anything, that's terrible.
See, this what happens when you come in late, right? Like Dr. Brown. We have over 4 and 5 years of research that everybody came together, and he think he gonna come in here and try to stump us. I'm like, dude, you're too late. We done been through all of this already.
Yeah, yeah. Stomp.
been there, done that.
You have to stump literally what the Dumb Diverses says. You have to stump literally Spain and Portugal, and uh, those are national archives. That's in Spain and Portugal. You have to stop that. These are things that you literally have to disprove. Tell us why it's false. Tell us why that sovereign country, those sovereign governments, what they say about us is false. And they can't do it. So therefore, they always ignore the history. Stop ignoring the history. If you really want to be truthful to scholastic or scholarly research, then you're going to have to do the actual research and then prove your null hypothesis, or then accept the alternative if your null hypothesis is not there. That's how research is done. Don't feel bad that your stuff doesn't pan out.
Do you ever wonder
Accept it.
why people have a problem with Christianity? Because of people like him, because they tell half truths and tell lies. Just like I saw this article with this white guy, and I think he went to Senegal or whatever, one of these places in Africa, and he married this black chick, but she got pregnant, so he tried to kill the baby,
Mm.
right? But he belonged to a ministry. He was a missionary, a Christian missionary. See, this is the problem. These Christians are being exposed for not believing the scriptures, and it's the same thing for Dr. Brown. Because if he had the fear of the Most High, he would tell the truth. He'd say, "Okay, we converts, y'all the real people. We inherited lies and things where there's no profit." But he's never gonna do that because that's their identity. That that the lie is their identity.
Yes.
But
Yes.
isn't that what Babylon means? Con plus fusion, like they're conning us, putting a little lie, put a lot of lie, a little bit of truth. Sometimes a lot of truth and a little bit of lie. I mean, isn't that what Babylon means? To be confused, to mix it up.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what we are saying, and that is exactly what they're trying to bring a narrative that is no longer supported, because when
Right.
you really do look at the evidence, right? That's all the con. The con is don't look at the evidence because the evidence tells on us. And now it's like, well, no, it's not that the evidence tells on you all. Now the evidence is, look, it tells what's happening and why this world is going the way it's going. Because for those that want to perpetuate this lie, they have to do everything that they can because they know that they're in trouble. See,
And the
what was
evidence
done
is
to
also,
us, what was done to
sorry,
us,
brother.
that's the curses. That's the curses. Let me get brother Asaph.
Evidence is
Brother Asaph.
discernment, and
Yeah,
us also
eh,
studying,
let me
ourselves
get brother
approved.
Asaph in
Give
here.
thanks.
Shalom, everyone. I'm disappointed in Dr. Brown's scholarship as well. You know, he knows that he's hanging on by a thread, and the disembowelment that he suffered from the Sikari wasn't enough for him. He's gone after Dante Fortson, who has loads and many years of research in this, and all of us who've been looking at this over the years have hundreds of secular references who the
Hmm.
people are. And even in their own Talmud, you know, Avoda 11a1, it says that um, Onkelos Colonimus converted, and along with the people that followed him, and all became Yehudi. You
Hmm.
know, and it's nothing wrong with being a convert, but it's the doctrine that they followed and the subsequent things that they've done through history, which is a problem to them. And the whole system is falling apart, and the firewall, which is Christianity, which has been backing them up, has found itself in a very difficult situation with this rapture doctrine, an idea that the rapture is going to be on the 23rd of September. If it doesn't happen, they're going to have to ask Scotty to beam them up, because a lot of people are going to leave the church, because even if they don't know the Bible, they'll say that they've been lied to, and they're going to look for something else. And I hope that they come to us.
Well, yeah, I'm praying that they come to us. This is why, look, I don't want to just say, you know, I'm not here as a Gentile basher. That's not my platform. I pray that you all realize that oh, Brother Karras is being hard on Gentile, or it's easy on Gentiles. No, I'm not a Gentile basher, because here's the thing: we were all once labeled Gentiles because we were all once served a lie, and a lot of us probably ate up that lie like Bill Cosby eating pudding cups.
Exactly.
Let's go
First
down there.
Corinthians 12 and 1 says that we were once Gentiles. it's carried on to dumb idols. And Ezekiel 18:4 says, all souls are his, and the soul that sinneth shall die. And repentance is for everybody, but it's up to the Gentiles to take it up. And some
Yes.
will be saved and some won't be saved. And it's all down to the attitude that they have, because the hurting is being put on them now. Obadiah has started to be fulfilled, and they're in a submission hold at the moment, and they want to use Greek explanations to circumvent what's happening to them at the moment, when we just want to get out of their grip, and Africa wants to get out of their grip, which is prophetic.
Hmm. Well, and they don't realize that Africa's getting out of their grip even as we speak. See, these prophetic times. This is a prophetic season that's being witnessed, and they can't understand what they're seeing that's right in front of their faces. Because why? Because they live in a construct to where the whole world lies to them. They know that they're seeing a lie. They just can't understand what that lie really means. So now they understand that the lie now means that they're losing their status. Because look, if you
or
can
fake
profit on
identity.
yeah, if you can profit on the lie, you're gonna profit on the lie as much as you can until that lie starts to hurt them, right? Now that let's what was just posted last week, Jeremiah 16:19. Now things within there is no profit, right? A little bit of a
Mm.
paraphrase, because why? Because in the scripture it says, look, our forefathers had inherited lies, and in things where there was no profit. Now this
That Jeremiah 16:19 quote that you just quoted is in effect right now, because a lot of Gentiles are realizing that
hmm
they're being scammed by these pastors, and the seminaries that have taught them this kind of stuff, and a lot of them are coming out of it. But the problem that we still have, to an extent, is these clairvoyant prophets in the Pentecostal and charismatic churches that are calling themselves prophets, and they don't know what the role of a prophet is. Second Kings 17:13 says the role of a prophet is to call people to repentance,
hmm
and point them to repentance and point out their sin. But they're not doing that. If you just scroll through TikTok at the moment, you see people prophesying that, oh, they're going to get visas to come to Europe and the United States and wherever it is, and these places are about to be wiped off the face of the map.
Well, George, I'd like to ask you this, because you bring a different perspective, especially the I'm going to say European perspective, just based purely off of location, geographical location. What do what do they feel
Uh,
with the war? Because I'm going to tell you this: there were some things that was said over in the United States, which is actually very telling, especially this week. Regarding the fact that, well, Russia won't stop with Ukraine. Russia will go all the way to, and this came out of their mouths, the United States. Is that
there
now the
is
same sentiment? What
Yeah,
would you
there is a feeling that Europe itself is also going to be invaded as well, because the Polish people have started to dig themselves in along the Polish border, and I heard rumors that Xi Jinping says he's going to join with the Russians
say? Hmm.
if America makes any moves towards Taiwan, which the Chinese have built up their military to a significant amount, and they've got soldiers in Canada, I believe, and soldiers in Mexico. So all these Western countries are about to be invaded. I probably think that they've got Chinese soldiers, because those guys look like they've been working out, that came in as refugees, uh, planted all over the place for to cause all sorts of disturbances.
Did y'all see the video where the Mexican guy that was asking him, "What are you doing?" He says they're rebuilding Trump walls because they know that things are about to crash and that the people in America are going to try to go to Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Well,
their
definitely.
fallout plan. That's their location. It's crazy. People have, yeah, I've heard that they're gonna try and go to Acapulco and other places.
There,
Ayúdame,
and there,
ayúdame.
there's something else I want to add too. Here comes a new challenger. DRC has jumped on a bandwagon, and they're kicking Belgium and the rest of Europe out of the Congo.
Man,
DRC.
the
Yep,
DRC. Oh my
yep.
goodness,
So what happened to the Brazzaville? What's up with that?
that's still going on.
So
That's still going
is
on.
it a
That's still
coup or
happening.
not?
Yeah.
Because they all
I,
shut down and quiet.
yeah, because the coup's going on. And you ain't gonna hear nothing. You ain't gonna hear nothing probably for about another week. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they're gonna say, okay,
And
now that
You
everything
know what?
look, their president is going to be either under house arrest or thrown into jail. And then
That's
well,
not the coup they want. They're
yeah,
not the old Ku Klux Klan. This is a different coup.
and check this out. Just to give a receipt on the Congo thing, Congo did it without bloodshed. They went and made examples, blowing up walls and blowing up the occupiers' vehicles and everything, saying this is what we're doing to this. We don't want to do this to you. Just please leave peacefully. And they were getting out. And I think another player is thinking about joining. Oh yeah, wait, Nigeria they're now leaning towards Niger. They're saying that if anyone touches Niger, the Congo or Burkina Faso, they're going to jump in on it. And oh, wait a minute,
Is
Ghana's
this
thinking
is
about
this
coming in.
is this just the citizens, Rojo? Just the
Yeah, yeah,
citizens?
yeah. It's the citizens. The citizens said that. Well, the citizens of what's the name of that one country where the citizens said that if their government goes against any of those five that are pushing Europe out right now, the citizens will have an uprising.
Algeria.
yeah.
Algeria, there you go, there you go, brother Asaf. Algeria, and what did they say? They said something that sounds very familiar from what our brothers and sisters from the '60s used to say. Don't worry about it. They won't be able to kill all of us. So I think Algeria's serious.
Mm,
It,
this is a
it's
Yeah,
it's
lot.
not
it's
look it's
happening.
not looking good at all. Most of the
No, it's not.
European leaders are must be on medication at the moment because the President von der Leyen, that said that she wants to uh, start a new relationship with Africa, and should they want to create jobs in Africa, they've had 500 years in order to repair the relationship with Africa, and people just don't want to listen to them no more. In fact, I'm going to be in a meeting with some of the high chiefs who are coming over from Ghana on the 28th of September, myself, my wife, and some other members. And I will be able to get more of the feeling on the ground. But the King of Ashanti has told Kofodor in no uncertain terms that he cannot send soldiers into Niger. And the soldiers in Ghana, when they saw the singing and the dancing of all the other soldiers from the French speaking country, they just got scared. So even if they do invade, they're not going to be able to win because the morale is not there to begin with. And secondly, the King of Ashantis has said that he doesn't want his soldiers going in there to fight against their cousins because everybody's awoke now. But the problem is that the King of Ashanti belongs to one of those apron wearing fraternities. So
Yeah.
we cannot really, yeah, we cannot really rely on what he says.
Hey, brother Asaf,
Yeah.
just so you know, Chad and France are fighting right now. France keeps on sending soldiers into Chad, and Chad keeps on running them out.
Wow.
7 different ways. 7 different
It,
ways.
it, it's a done deal now because all the kids in Africa, have woken up and they have said to themselves, why should they be living in poverty? Why while the West has gotten all the free labor from the people that it's taken, and they have all the natural resources that our gerontocracy has been giving away for free, near enough. They want their stuff back, and a lot of the leaders are afraid. How can you have a drug dealer as one of the presidents of one of the largest African countries? It just doesn't compute.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute at all.
He said, "I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher
You
man."
know, but
All right. Well, the pusher man's about to get pushed out. You know, so yeah.
that's what, yeah, that's what's happening.
All for
And, you
that
know,
yellow
this is the
cake,
thing.
brother Cat. That yellow cake.
Yellow
I,
cake. Yeah.
That yellow. Don't you drop that. Don't you drop that.
yeah, I
I
mean, this
know
is something that
I know we're all laughing in here, but
yeah,
it's a very serious thing that these Gentiles are facing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very serious thing, because the hurting has been put on them in a mighty way, without us marching against them, and they can't see in the Bible where our enemies that were more powerful than ourselves was defeated by Yahuwah through the forces of nature. He destroyed Egypt that way, and is destroying Babylon the same way, and they are bound to fight against one another.
Brother Asaph,
Yes, sir.
I got to tell you something about your country, bro. And this came from a Gentile. And like
Yeah.
I said, I always believe, when I say I always believe them, I'm talking about when it comes to the state of what's going on with someone's country. Not that I believe them when they're lying, but in this situation, because it lines up, I believe them. One of your most influential Gentile people out there was in tears talking about how Britain, well, not just Britain, the entire UK is finished because Africa has cut them off. That they
That's
need Africa.
that that is correct.
yeah,
And some of them were
Reading.
saying that if it were possible, they'd like to join BRICS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, wait a minute. What?
And
Mm-hmm.
Britain
greed.
wants to join BRICS?
Yeah,
Whoa.
Sound
yeah,
like a bunch
because
of turncoats.
Just
Bunch of
just a
turncoats.
quick
I'm sorry. Let me mute my mic.
Yeah, just a quick thing to the thing about them, I'm not saying them, I would say Gentiles. When there's an emergency, they don't act like, brown people more like help each other. When there's an emergency, they panic to the upteenth and get violent. My husband always tells me the one team you never want to play in a soccer game is a team that's horrifically losing. By the end of the inning, they're trying to break legs and kneecaps and injure people because they already know they lost. So as funny as it is, I've seen it in fires where we're all trying to get out the city, and there's just the Gentiles are looking at every brown person in the gas pump like they want to start something. Like they so upset they want to like lash out. Not saying everybody, but a large number. So in these
but
situations,
you
that's
know
why
what?
it's
We were
funny,
talking
but we
about
got to
well,
be
my sister,
our head equivalent. Yes,
it.
brother.
there was a man called Sun Tzu that said that a wicked leader would rather rule over ashes than to rule over than to admit that he's lost. And
Mm.
this is exactly the position that
Ooh.
the Western powers are in at the moment. They'd rather run a scorched earth policy,
Mm-hmm.
and destroy the whole earth than to give up their rulership. So,
Ooh.
as our beloved Pastor Yakoba has said, if the Most High doesn't put in his appearance quite soon, we're all going to be finished, because all the things that they've run against us to terminate us as a populace hasn't worked. And the thing is, they'd rather do the Samson option rather than to give up their leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
And does the scripture promise
Man,
us that he will end it before there's you know what I mean? Before there's no flesh on earth, because he
he
knows.
said if those days was not cut short, no
There you
flesh would
go. Thank
survive.
you, Brett.
But
Can you can you
he
quote that?
said that
Can you
he said that
where's that
Jacob.
scripture at?
Well, I mean, I can't. Shucks, I don't even know what the scriptures that. I know it's in the Bible. What? I mean, I don't know. You
But
probably
say it
that's
again.
scarce or
Say it again, brethren. We need to hear it
I know
again. Say
Jacoba
it again.
knows it. Jacoba knows it. That's that end time prophecy. Yeah, if
right. He said that if those days was not cut short, no flesh would survive. But Jacob
Matthew
will be.
24:22.
Yeah, that's
took
it.
me a little bit to get
His
to
But you
Google.
mercy.
know,
His
the
mercy
thing
endures
about it
forever.
is, we we was talking about something, and Karish played a video yesterday. These Gentiles are quite worried.
Yes.
They very worried. I'm serious. It's what they talking about. Supposedly happen. Supposed to take place. You know.
Let me put this on out there. Shout out to Brother Dow. I want to put this on out there. Let me get this on. All right. All right. Here we go. Fair use. Let me share this. Shout out to Brother Brian. If he's all right, he shared this with us. So I'm gonna do. And let me get this. Share this.
Don't have to have logic. They don't have to have it.
There we go.
Okay, so I am a Christian. I believe in God. I love God. Cannot believe I'm crying on TikTok right now. But have you guys seen about the hearings that they're having in New York? They had today about the quarantine camps. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they had a hearing today in New York City about quarantine camps, basically, where they can come into your home completely unprovoked. They can force themselves into your home, and if they want to, they can take your children and they can put them in a quarantine camp. Hold on, I have to calm down. Okay. And they don't have to have a reason. They don't have to have logic. They don't have to have any proof that you've come into any contact with anyone. It can be you, your mom, your sister, your brother, your husband, your children. And oh wow, my heart is really overwhelmed right now with this. Um I would be fine. I would be fine if they came and they took me away. I would be fine. I'm not worried about me one bit. I'm not even really all that worried about my husband. Because he's a scary, scary dude. But I have 3 children, and the thought of someone coming into my home and taking one of my kids away from me, I can't, y'all. I can't. Like, I try so hard to have faith, and I pray every single day for protection over my children. But like, when are we going to get to the point where we're really going to do something about this? Because we're just sitting back, and we're always talking about doing something. And I know that I look like a complete idiot right now, trying really hard to keep it together on TikTok. I'm trying so hard not to be that person that cries on TikTok. I know that a lot of people don't believe in those things. You need to get some. You need to get a lot. And you need to get a lot of ammunition. Because I'm telling you right now, if crap hits the fan and someone comes into your home and tries to take your children, you are going to be so upset that you never went and got yourself a couple or a whole bunch and a lot of ammunition. And don't keep it in a Liberty safe, because we all.
All right, I'll stop there, and I think you all kind of get what's going on.
When the
That's
hizzy,
the thing I'm talking
when the
about.
The
shizzy hits
shit,
the,
Hey,
I
the
Karis,
shizzy's about
that, hey,
the shizzy's gonna hit the fizzy.
the
Here
hey,
it
shizzy's gonna
is.
hit the
y'all are late.
fizzy.
Y'all are late on that. Governor Hochul already done passed it. Now they're fighting to repeal it. So
Yeah,
But did you notice her fake Karen tears just to get the emotions up? I mean, they've been trained to do that. I mean, protect, what I'm saying, Gentile women, they've been trained to get all fakery and crying at the fake tears to get everybody all on their side. They've been weaponizing them against
I'm,
us. They're the ones who raised them. Let's
hey,
not keep
hey,
the
do being
Gentile
me,
women out of
do
this.
being
They're
me.
the ones who
I'm
raised them.
I'm surprised she didn't say not only the kids and the parents. I'm surprised she didn't say they're gonna come for the dogs. 'Cause, they love
Oh,
their
that
dogs.
that was gonna be next. She just didn't give me time.
But see,
That
this
was gonna be the real
The
time. That was
dog.
gonna be the real time.
Ah!
Is my dog gonna get raptured? Is my dog gonna get raptured?
Is there a kennel in the ghetto? A kennel ghetto in heaven. You know what I'm saying?
All dogs go to
Yeah.
heaven.
You know me singing that Tupac song.
Hey, I
Is
was
there a
going to say that
kennel in
Tupac.
heaven? Kennel ghetto in heaven. Oh my
I'm glad that I
But
didn't have
this
my operation this year, or my stitches would have burst.
But see, that's what happens
all
when
right.
you don't listen
You
to
know what? Yeah.
Negroes, right? Because right now was literally happening to them, and they don't see it, and we've been warning them for years. It's Deuteronomy 28:32. Your sons and daughters will be given to another nation, and you will wear out your eyes watching for them day after day, powerless to lift a hand. They're going into captivity.
Oh, I was just thinking that. I said that's the Spanish
Mhm.
Inquisition for us.
Yeah, the
Those
Inquisition.
curses are flipping.
Hey, flipping.
Don't do
Now,
some
can you
modern day
imagine? Can
naked.
you imagine this now? Can you imagine that these government coming into black neighborhoods? We go force you to do something, and if you don't do it, you go take the lollipop or whatever. You know how much bloodshed gonna be out there? Do you
You
really
know,
truly understand what the, you
Mike,
know what I'm
what would they
saying?
run to? What would they run to first? And you hit it on a good. You hit it right on the nail. Where do you think they run to first? They run to our neighborhoods
I
first.
would think,
They run to us
yeah.
first. Can you fight for us? Can you fight for our children? That's who they would run to first. Can you? Well, ain't no
Mhm.
guns. Because why? They gonna get shot at and then
And
they're
so
gonna run away. Tyler, I'll see
I
you
think
later.
that
Mommy loves you. Ah!
I think
Hey,
I think
Karen, she'll throw out the hand sign. She'll throw out that Hawaiian hang low sign, put up to her ear. Call me.
I think that this time I think they will really start with the Gentiles, just to to lift up the fear. You know, if they showing that they going in there, they busting in somebody's house, taking their kids and everybody else, and they just go downhill with it. All right. In order for us to get to these black people, we gotta instill fear. They don't have the fear they used to have no more. So we gotta instill this fear. First, we gotta attack these people. Now, I'm questioning what is all these immigrants doing here, walking up and down the street? Are they supposed to be for some type of a scene or something? Because now it's like, hey, let's start with these people first in order to provoke fear. But I
Them your
think,
new popos, Michael.
I'm
That's
not
what.
looking
Yeah,
at that. I'm saying
exactly.
this. I'm saying this here. They use who? The police? Now, let me tell you something on that. That situation in Alabama, if you want to see that thing more so nationally, you you know how many army people you got to bring in to subdue black people? That's a whole lot of people, bro. And you think black people could just sit there and take it? No, this
We
is gonna
had
be
a
one time
similar
you're gonna
thing
see
in
black.
the UK. A shop owner strangled this African
Oh,
lady,
Brother Asaph, I saw that video. Sister Chantel showed me that. I'm sorry to cut you off.
and the whole community, Africans, people from the Caribbean, and all over came out, and now that shop is completely closed.
See that we're not playing no more. Those days are long and gone, bro. That
That
white
video was
chair,
crazy.
oh
Sister
yeah.
Chantel showed it to me. There's people in the streets that shut that street was shut down. I saw the video that it was like I think was it an Indian
Peckham,
Arab or whatever. He was strangling the lady.
yeah.
And then I was like, Sister Chantel, you gotta give me a warning before you send these. I was just peaceful walking, and then she sent me this video, and I was just angry. And then she sent me the video, the aftermath, and yeah, they literally were in front of that person's store raising hell.
But let me ask you
So
something, Gar. Can you? I mean, what was this video about? Can you say it again?
Let me see something. Let me see something.
Mhm.
Let me push that on up there. All right. Let me see if I can share this.
That's
Oh,
right, Coco G.
I'm definitely gonna share this. All right, fair use. Jacoba, YouTube's gonna strike me. Let me see if I can share this, family,
You
because
you'll just get a copyright warning.
yeah, we'll
Hey,
see.
hey, we got your back, Karis.
You can DTP holding it down. Y'all can cash at me at Cover Wing. I'm saying that right now. You know, this is the trigger warning. I'm gonna let you know this is a trigger warning. Black folks, hide your kids. All right, can y'all see it?
Nah,
Here
hey,
we
they gonna let
go.
them still play in the street. I dare them to come mess with my kids. Nah, everybody in their family gonna be looking at it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All
Oh, wait a
right.
minute.
Yeah, y'all can see this now, huh?
Go ahead.
Call the police. Fake! 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 Fucking look, thank you for calling. Record it. Call the police. Call the police. Thank you. Call the police. Call the fucking police. Call the fucking police. Call the fucking police. Is this what this is, babe? I'm calling the police. Babe, this man put his neck on me. This man just strangled me right now. This get off me. This man just strangled me. Get the fuck off me.
You should have kicked him in the balls.
Look. I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna call the police. Fake! Fucking look, thank you, recording.
All right. Oh,
You know
You
what?
know war
And,
coming,
and
right?
you know,
It's coming.
yeah. And when y'all say he's going to judge these nations, yeah, I mean, my thing. Look at what's happening to certain countries. Morocco had that earthquake. Now, I don't know if you all know, slavery is still practiced in Morocco. I was there.
mhm. Let me
I went
show
there
you
to
the
do some
response,
training.
Mike. Let me show the
All right.
response video to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we're gonna have Region 6 news. I'm gonna tell you this.
See what people them, yeah? This is what me I talk about. See what people them, yeah? Yeah, hold it. See what people them, yeah? See the shop there? Yeah, see there? All right, boss, go on. Yeah. See what people them, yeah? Too much of this, go on. Too much liberty, go on. Too much liberty, go on. We're there. This shop here for shut down. Can't trade a Peckham again. That shop there can't trade a Peckham again. I don't know one day business we are deal with. Yeah? Violate black woman. Yeah? Want come violate our black woman? We rank? Hey. Hold on there.
All right. Thank you, brother
Wow.
George. Thank you,
So
brother
happy
ASAP,
to.
for sharing.
I'm so glad I saw that because
See,
man, when I saw that other video, we were so infuriated. All my sisters put that on blast. We were like, "What is
Was was that
why?"
brother?
I mean,
Was that
and
brother ASAP? Was that brother ASAP right
thank you,
there?
brother Asaph.
Thank you for that.
We need to blow that up because we don't know that. None of us, a lot of us was so infuriated. We're like, "That shut it
but
down."
I mean, like I was saying, that is not, for something like that to come into like black neighborhoods, they gonna have a big hill to climb. And
But
I just don't
brethren,
see. I know what they're talking about doing. This is what, and don't get me wrong, we talked about that, me, you, and Brother Fast Nickel and Garth, but I don't put nothing past this system. I don't. And truthfully, like the sister said, it's like we need to be in unison. Whatever's going on with our brothers over there, we need to know here. And whatever's going on over here, they need to know what's going on over there. Because I just don't see. Well, I mean, I ain't gonna say I don't see. For this government to bring in its army people, talking about what they want to do or impose upon the people. I think seriously, when Jacob was talking about if y'all open up a door, he going through it. I seriously believe that door that's going to be open is when they start fighting amongst themselves. That's gonna be our get up time. Oh, it's time to get up out of here. They fighting, killing one another.
Yeah,
that's just me. And it just seems that way.
So,
that's what's going to happen.
I think that the thing that was so infuriating is, I mean, the way he did that, his face was like, oh, I do this all day. I do this every day. I'm in Dubai. Oh, I'm not in London. I mean, and I've seen that happen in the 80s. I don't know if anybody grew up in New York or the East Coast. Some Middle Eastern people will be men. Oh, they be tripping. Even, and I'm just saying, in LA back in 89, my mom was attacked at a gas station by a person like that. She sued him, but then he had the pocket and the money, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's not nothing new. That's the thing. We just haven't seen it. That's why the scripture says everything that is hidden shall come into light. You might, that's a phone. That's a phone right here. You know what I mean? Everything that's nothing new. That's what's so crazy.
But they practice that. They practice
that.
that.
Even in New York,
Morocco,
there have been plenty of sisters that have been attacked.
Well, no. They don't do that stuff here in the United States. The Arabs would not walk in front of African American when
my mom was attacked by a gas station owner.
No.
I'm talking
about
in Los Angeles.
No, we talking about on the regular. We talking about on the regular.
Okay.
I'm talking about on the
it's because there's cameras. There's cameras now. That's why.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I understand.
Here in the United States, Arab do not come up just walking upon black people like that. They don't come up and walk in front of a black person that's standing in line. They do that. They practice that in Morocco and Libya, northern Libya, and as well as Dar es Salaam.
No,
but
I'm saying
once they recognize you
black people in their stores, they have, and
sir.
Asians and Arabs, they have. I mean, do you not remember? They've done this to us. We just haven't seen it as much but now, no more. They have done this.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They practice that in Africa. They walk in front of them like it ain't no thing. They do not walk in front of us here. They know for a fact what their place is. Chinese people, they do not walk in front of you. In their land, they probably
anymore.
will do that.
Do you not remember the thing that happened with the young girl in the 1990s that was shot at a gas station? Trayvon, do we not remember that?
Okay. My question is then, to you, to Sister Nubian, since she has so much to say about this, my question is directed at you, sister, and you have to.
They don't do it because there's cameras.
No. Since you're bringing out all this information, you have to take responsibility for the sisters. So no. Well, then answer the question: why do you allow and not tell these sisters to stay out of these people's shops? Why do you not tell people, get on a platform and tell people to cease and desist from going into these places? Because you're right, it happens to mostly black women. So being that you all are mostly the recipients of it, you should be on the bullhorn telling people to stay out of these places. I'm just saying, sis, and I'm not even saying that with ugly.
And I do, brethren, because I support black businesses all day. As a matter of fact, my uncle used to own a hair thing in LA. Okay, real popular, and we saw how the Asians moved in LA, and we saw how they actually.
Michael's trying to give you some game, and you keep on cutting them off. Because Michael's on to some real good stuff, and you keep on cutting them off. So if you're going to cut them off, that means you have a solution. And if you don't have a solution, maybe you should listen and get a solution.
Why are you being so defensive, bro? I was just giving my opinion. Is it okay if I give my opinion?
Let me get on in here and let me just do some referee duties. Time out on the clock. Let me put everybody to the back like Sister E. I need to get that thing too.
Man, don't do that, Cat. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Sister E, you need to email
Don't do it.
that. How do you
Don't you
do
do
that? I
that.
got it's early in the morning. People haven't even gotten a second cup of coffee yet. And, we already cutting up. Man.
Yeah.
Man.
Carrie,
We
we
got
was in
to
Dar
shut
es
this thing
Salaam,
down. We
me,
got to
you,
shut
and
this thing
Quinn.
down. Now, just go ahead, brother Mike.
You remember we was there, and me, you, and Quinn. And Quinn, and the reason why I was saying this, and this is what they do to our brothers there. They walk in front of them when they want in, stand in line to get service. So one of the security guys, he said, "No, come on, I'll take you to it." And so we walked together. And so these Arab guys, we were standing in the line. They just walked right in front of us. And I looked at the brother, and the brother, he kind of dropped his head. And so I like, yo, what's going on? Y'all got to fall back. When they heard my voice, they fell back with the quickness. We're
in the bank. Yep.
We was in the bank. The same thing. That guy, he was kind of nervous though. He was kind of nervous.
I know he was shook. He was shook.
Yeah. Quinn like gave him a look.
Yeah, Quinn was like, "What's this dude doing?"
Like, yeah, but this is what they practice there. But here you don't find them just walking in front of you and no store or whatever. No, they don't do that. They stay within them. They know they lane, and that's all I was saying here. They know, hey, we're not going to try black people. We're not going to try them. But when you got these sisters going to their stores, buying their supplies or whatever, and they go do their dumb stuff there on cameras and things. But out in the streets, no. But now things are changing, just like the video you just showed. It seemed like those days are gone. We're in a whole different era, and it is what it is, and things of that nature. And so, we're not trying to take unnecessary nonsense any longer. It's just that simple. Either you go recognize a man and respect that man, or you go have to suffer some consequences. It is what it is. If we can sit up here and do the same thing to a man, show him that respect, what's the difficult thing for you to show respect to a black man?
No, brother Mike.
For a fact, you buy.
No, brother Mike. All I was saying is this: anyone who ever saw the movie Menace to Society, 1993, after the first 10 minutes of that movie, those and I hate to. I'm not trying to sound pejorative, but those foreigners weren't coming over here opening up shops trying black men like this. They saw that, and they saw old dog. We were all old dog, so they were kind of nice to us, It was the sisters that was getting smoked in because they were too cowardly to mess with the old dogs of America. So, so no, you're right. You're right. I agree with you 100%.
They still don't mess with the black men, right? When I was growing up, they ain't never messed with us when we was growing up, and even today they're not gonna mess with us because they know they're gonna get a beat down. But these little weak Asians and other Gentiles, they want to mess with our women because they by themselves and they the weaker vessel. But let one man be in that room with them, he ain't gonna mess with them.
Thank you, Cole. But that's the only point I was trying to push across there, and you articulated so nicely. Thank you.
And then they
I feel sorry for your mother. What you say about my mama?
They try so hard to feminize, to destroy a black man. And I can almost guarantee you, for every last one of you, when you out, I'm talking to the brothers now. When you out and about and you run up on a Gentile or something, and they see you and you may be in a store, don't they say, usually they say, if they I ain't gonna necessarily say from the streets, they always, or at least me, They approach me, hey, what's up, man? They always approach me that way. Or they say, how you doing, sir? They don't come saying, may I help you? They always put sir, or they say, hey, well, hi, what's going on, man? How's it going? This is how they address me. I don't know if it's the way I carry myself or whatever, I don't know. But this is what I have noticed when it comes to black men. They go to respect them to a degree. Now, when it comes to these so-called Michael Browns, they just hate the fact that they don't know the scriptures. They hate it because when you come out and you bringing out scripture and you explaining it, it's well, how is this supposedly uneducated black man knowing this? Where is he getting all this information from? This is what's baffling in them, and this is the most thing they find to themselves disrespectful. We held education from you all. We allowed you to read. But they don't understand that Yah's spirit is the one who's giving us this insight. Mm-hmm. They don't want to believe that. They want to continue to believe that we are the dirt of the earth. Those days are gone. And they can't handle that. Then you just see this little Gentile, like she was on crack cocaine, like with caffeine in it. She's in a nervous, like she can have a stroke at any moment. And there's a lot of them like that. Sister Deborah Yah, she had a TikTok thing, and they had a few black people in there, but the whites in there, they can't understand that. Hey,
I think
I gotta work
drugs
2
talking about,
jobs.
Mike, is Adderall.
All right. But I'm saying, here we are in this particular time, in this particular day. They are feeling what we've been feeling for years. They're feeling it. And it's only been brief for them. This is just the beginning for them.
I mean, in earnest, Mike, in earnest, how long has it really been for them? You know, for them to really, now they're under the gun. Now think about it. They really started feeling being under the gun and what?
2020.
Yeah, but they really weren't feeling it though until about like what, 2022, when Russia crossed
2022
the Rubicon. I would say that's when that was the point of, oh my goodness, this is bad.
All right, okay.
You
Because
see what I'm saying?
I would
And that,
say, I'm sorry, bro, Karis.
no, go ahead,
I
Joe.
was gonna say, maybe you're right. That's like when it was like fully visceral, and they're like, "Oh, we're in a point of no return." But like even around here, like when we were saying, like all of us, like we didn't even know each other. We didn't even know we were Israelites. We were all like just chilling and like, all right. And then as soon as the lockdowns happened, they're like, how are we gonna go out? How am I gonna celebrate my birthday? How am I gonna go out Friday night? How am I gonna do this, that? Well, it's like the whole world shut down, and now I feel like that was like the first like time that they were, or like the first inkling of something being off. But still, like I know what you mean. Yeah, it still wasn't the full like 180.
No, and
Yeah.
that's why I think for them, remember it was, yeah, we had this pandemic and we're gonna come back. Remember that was their whole line of thinking. Oh, it's just something, we're gonna bounce back. It's and then we're here on these channels. No, you're never going back. It's never gonna be the same. It's always gonna get worse
But let me
and
ask you something,
progressively
Karen.
worse.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you mean if you was a strategist, and you well, I can't say that. How can I put this, man? If you're going to, I need for you to take this lollipop and we go start issuing this out in a particular month. If you was to do that and you wanted to control, when would you think you would do that? During the summertime?
No,
When it's hot and
no.
all that?
Well, honestly,
When?
look, you would to me. All right, I look at it a couple different facets, right? If you know that it's going to have what, adverse effects, reactions, yada yada. Well, the time that you would do that would be like late fall, right? Early winter. Because why? Because not as many people are out there traveling around and about. You see what I'm saying? People are more in their homes.
Mhm.
So looking at what you see right here. This is kind of to me, these are those deadly years, those deadly seasons. Because remember what was going on, last year, during this time people were having adverse reactions, and they were letting them know they're having adverse reactions. Right
Mhm.
now in the spring, summertime, they're able to get on out, be a little bit more active. Right, you can get your heart racing, pumping a little bit better. You breathe a little bit better. So you didn't have as much or as prolific as you're going to have it right now, because weather does change things, and weather does give an impact on your body. Even today, I'm in Tampa, and I felt like it felt like it was actually fall. I could feel the fall, even though it was
Yeah.
still 70 degrees outside. I could still feel that 70 degrees. That little bit of a degree temperature difference with the dry air made things a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable. Now it's gonna reach back up into the 90s, right? But it's that weather that's shifting, and it's getting cooler up north. It's getting cooler up north. So think about what folks had gone through, those extreme changes, and a hot summer, and now potentially a very cold winter that could be filled with snow and other events that can mess things on up. We'll see how time goes. But I still remember that winter back in what, 2021, how bad that was. That was a really bad winter, especially there in Texas. So you never know how this thing
But
is gonna shape up. We just want to tell you,
but they make the
prepare. Yeah, go ahead.
they tell but they giving out warnings saying, hey, this is during the wintertime now. This is what they're saying. That you want to have some electrical issues, power outages. Who want to have a power outage during the wintertime? Especially in Chicago. There was one year we got below 50 below zero. Can you? It's colder in your house than it is outside.
Mm,
But think
I
about
mean, I
this,
don't know if
right?
anyone.
So you have this whole issue that's happening in India with the Nipah virus, right?
mm-hmm.
All in time for the beginning of 2024, similar to what happened a few years ago.
Yes.
So now, not only is that coming, we have the tokenization of the currency now. So Citibank and all of them doing tokens. You don't have cash no more. It's all tokens. Australia is going fully tokenized the
Hmm.
beginning of January. Why is that? Because they don't have enough troops to keep us in line. But
Hmm.
they can just shut off your bank account, shut off your electricity, shut off your gas, right? That's what's coming.
And not to mention,
Yes.
National Westminster over here is going fully tokenized as well. But the government wants to close that down and just continue having cash because they're afraid that the populace will rebel.
Mm.
Mm. You know, I mean, these are the things that we may come on these platforms and we speak, but it's thought provoking because now you got to say, how can I protect me and my family, or what alternative measures can I take? Because we can't control what they turn on and turn off. Because now let's do it this way. You got friends losing something that they were so getting their energy. Now it's getting cold. Now, what is the United States going to do? Is it going to share its energy with France? Maybe, maybe not. And if they do, guess who going to suffer? First, it's going to be black. It's going to be poor neighborhoods. which is black neighborhoods. So now, when they talk about it's going to be some type of electrical outage, yeah, you go really understand why it's an issue, because now they already gave us this scenario. Somebody tried to burn down an electrical plant or something earlier part of this year. They already putting it. They just trying to get your head wrapped around. All somebody went and threw a firebomb and it knocked out half of New York. They're already trying to get your mind set to that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you lose control over a continent where you depend for your you depend on the resources and you losing it, yeah, 2022, you should have seen the videos of these ladies, Gentiles, and France. They was talking about how cold their place was during the wintertime, and that was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And now these talking these weather people talking about, oh, you're going to have a bad winter this year. I can't say because I'm not no weather expert, but this is what they're talking about. And at the same time, we individually or as a group need to start looking at what they're talking about doing. If there's somebody shutting down your electricity or even your internet or whatever, we got to start looking at other means. You remember back in the days, you knew everybody's phone numbers? Before we had cell phone, everybody knew if it was your wife, your mother, everybody knew their phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
How many of y'all know on here can knows your mother phone number? I cannot call my mother's phone number by heart. I got to go back into the phone. But this is how they dumb me down.
We used to have the phone numbers on the fridge. Used to have the phone numbers written
Yeah.
on the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago, we used to have a little black book. It was a small black book. It fits right into your pocket. Everybody had their phone numbers in this. When you pull out that black book, if you didn't know it, you go through that black book. Oh yeah, boom. And that's how we used to do it. It was back in the early 90s. And that's how we did it. Cell phones came, stored in there. Mama, dial it. It dumbed us down. GPS, I still know how to read a map, but for those who don't know how to read a map, you may have some problems. See, these are the things the world has literally came in and dumbed us down over the years. And when I say us, I'm talking about myself included. There's a lot of things they have dumbed us down. If they shut up your electricity, how are you gonna keep warm? Trust and believe. There's plenty of ways to keep yourself warm besides turning on your stove.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you down south or whatever, I mean, you know these things. But some people feel like it's hopeless. I'm gonna freeze to death. No, I'm not gonna freeze to death. Trust and believe. All I need is a window and an exhaust system, and I'm good. You'll live. You will live. Probably not the way you used to, but you will continue to live.
Hey,
These are the
Michael,
things I was saying. That, sir.
did you see that movie, The Day After Tomorrow? A cheap,
Yeah, I seen all.
a cheap, effective way to keep yourself warm when it's cold, and it'll overwarm you, it'll overheat you. Get a pot load of newspapers or free publications, or like those yellow pages papers. Ball those up, tuck those in your clothes and up under your pits. I guarantee you'll be coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, just want to give a shout out to Newbie and me. Extend that olive branch and that apology. It's just that when I get in, I don't want to blame it on the spirit, but when I get to where I'm really worried about my people, I just kind of lose control. So that's on me. I got to work on that. Go ahead, Brother Michael, and thank you.
I apologize too for being fiery. Like I said, I experienced it, so I was speaking more anger and frustration, but I learned, like you said, I learned a lot. We need to keep our brothers and our fathers next to us and our husbands next to us, and those, especially now. Yeshua says we got to go 2 by 2 now. We always got to go. He always said 2 by 2. He was already speaking. to us, way ahead, telling us so long ago. So give thanks, and I appreciate you being patient with me. And you should feel bad for my husband, but I try to be humble. I'm working on it, being humble, being quiet, work on it with the Holy Spirit. With the Ruach Hakodesh. Give thanks, Elder. Appreciate your patience.
All
But
right.
this is what I'm talking about. We all can come
Hallelujah.
together and and work on things. That's where to go, boy. Hey, Kobe, you coming back on this week?
I don't know.
It's too
Come
much.
on, bro.
It's too much for Yakoba. Look, he's an information overload.
I am.
This is. I was looking at all this stuff. I said, let me send this to Yakoba. I sent him. I
Yeah,
said,
man.
Yakoba
I was
something
looking at it.
else.
I was in the same. I mean, all this happening. I ain't heard from you, Kobe. I'm like, man, what's going on? I said, man, I hope the cat ain't sick. I was like, that was just me.
Don't worry, Yakoba. You'll have plenty of time to get things done when everybody's on lockdown.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Look. I'm working on my faith, man. I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, we in some doo-doo here. I'm like, right. I'm just like the most. I just gotta go back to the scriptures and confess the scriptures. That's all I could do, because I'm like, I can't help nobody. I can't even help myself.
The point is not to help yourself. The point is it's the Most High that's going to always help us. It's just being able to believe what on His word. And shout out to Brother Garth in his praise report, because here's the thing: we are always overwhelmed by the enemy.
Oh yeah,
and so the funny thing is, the Most High answers, but it's really, you don't think He's gonna. It's done in a different way. In a different way. Again, thank you for all that did the Quest to Unite Africa when I was doing the $15,000 request last Friday. I'm going to tell you this: the Most High answered, well, but it was in a different way. It was he answered it differently, and it was far better than anything, honestly, monetarily. We have what we need to have from Him, but He always gives us what we actually need. Money is fine. It answers things. But again, what we always have to build up is the relationship with each other. As a people, we are the most valuable commodity on the face of this earth. We are. That's why they tried so hard to separate us in our gifts and our abilities.
Do y'all know that scripture where it says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all"?
Yep. Psalms 34 and 22.
Yeah. So, like for me, I guess sometimes I get a little concerned because I've had a lot of afflictions, right? And y'all know my history of being sick and ill and all that kind of stuff, and the journey back to health and getting better, finding out my thyroid issues and stuff. And then it's like during the time of COVID, I think I caught every little strain that came, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it sort of gets concerning because I be getting the heck beat out of me. I want to use a different word, but I be getting the heck beat out of me. I don't want to go through it no more. I'm serious, and so I know some people think that might be lack of faith there, but I'm like, when you get beat down like I've been beat down, and I know some people got worse stories than me, so I ain't complaining. But it's wearisome. I tell my brother that all the time. I say I'm tired, right? That's why you ain't hear from me. I'm tired, right? What am I going to say? What am I going to add to what I've already taught and said was going to happen? I'm tired.
I think you need to talk to Brother Mike, because Brother Mike, in one of his couple of villages that he's chiefs over, there's a 40. They call it the 40 tree.
Chief Mike. I'm on the same page as Brother Yakoba. I've had cancer 3 times, the last time being pancreatic cancer. My body looks like Frankenstein's monster from the amount of operations that I've had. But yet the Most High has seen fit to let me live, and He never disappoints the expectation of the righteous, it says in the scripture. And I never thought I'd be alive to see all what is happening at the moment. And Brother Yakoba, just hang in there, because the enemy afflicts us more than anybody else, because we're at the forefront of what's happening and at the forefront of telling our people wherever we are exactly what's happening in this room. And our affliction comes in many ways, but through it all, Yahuwah will see us through it. And I believe in my heart that we're going to be out of here not too long from now, because there's only so much these people can stand. You know, they're emotionally weak. During the lockdown, I saw the most people having the most nervous breakdowns, the most domestic disputes amongst the Gentiles. And I had a wonderful time with my family and spending time with my wife and extended family who live on their own that came to stay with us. It was a beautiful time. And if we have another lockdown, and the internet is up, we'll be praying together. We'll be communing together while the Gentiles are busy destroying themselves.
Yeah, you know, Brother Asaph, a lot of times I have to say, I just got to make it to the Exodus. I know it's near. And, you know, that's one of the questions I have for you, Karis, because every now and then I'll ask you, so timeline, what do you think? Because I'm like, I don't see us having too much time left for the Exodus to happen. I think it got to be relatively soon. I know it's sort of open ended, but I mean, there's just way too much happening.
Yeah, so I think we'll be out of here in 2040. So, plan for 2040, family. Not to crush
What you say?
anybody's dreams. No.
Don't you push me out there to 2040, Karen.
I mean, hey, all of us, we good friends.
You know what? I done heard all. You know what I heard with that? It was the. That was everybody's hearts dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it will. I personally don't think it will be that long anyway, because the Gentiles cannot stand 1% of what we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And when the call has been made by all the African leaders, prominent ones, that for reparations, there's going to be a reparations conference in Ghana in October. I don't know if you guys have heard about it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard. Yes, I did. Now
Yeah.
George, what you had just said, that's very interesting, because that's actually what shapes my timeline in the way that I think. Because I always look at it like this, and I told this to Mike in the background, of how I look at things. I'm not going to tell you the full scope of it, but look, we have to look at how other nations respond and how they react, and that tells you our timeline. That they actually tell you our timeline. And it's interesting because when I heard something that was said, I'm like, yeah, that actually produces the timeline. For me, this is just me personally speaking.
Yeah, but
I,
our relationship with the Gentiles has been one of serious abuse. And when you ask for a divorce and the divorce papers has been served, it puts pressure on the party who's received the papers
Hey,
if
brother
they've been
Asaph.
abusing you. Yes.
I'm sorry, brother, but I think Karis was about in mid thought when you stepped in there. I'm
I,
sorry.
I was, but I let him. I was, but I let him go. Hey,
I'm sorry. No,
Thank you.
that's okay. That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
When he's
I'm
talking about
sorry,
Jewish
Karis. Sorry,
nations
brother
and
Ace.
getting served, look, these nations got served with Niger.
Yeah, oh,
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying? These nations got served with what's going on currently in the Congo. Now you have the DRC that Rojo had just mentioned, where the nation look, DRC is your biggest nation, and then with DRC doing that, that puts the other nations on notice. That's why I have to say, look, we would just come on in here and, like, well, scripturally speaking, prophetically wise, well, the awesome thing about the word is everything starts to line up with the word, and then you can actually see, based off of what's happening, how the word is being fulfilled. And now you can say, okay, the word is being fulfilled because we see this, and this happening, which means right now to me, I don't think that we're gonna be here. People are saying 2026, 2027. To me, I think that
Yeah,
that's very, very, that's not the case. If people are here, that's stragglers, in my opinion. Those are
yeah.
stragglers.
Well,
You know,
the scripture says in
I
Ezekiel 39, 28, and 29 that all of us are going to leave. But another more prominent scripture came to mind from the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, when it says that the righteous are going to stand up and they're going to talk about the people who have afflicted them and not taken no account of their labor, and they're going to be amazed at their deliverance. And I think that the time for that now is now, based on what we're seeing. So I don't think we have too long to go. I
Yeah,
don't
and
think so.
I
and
think
see, the thing is, there's pressure in the nations. There's actually, no kidding, real pressure that these nations are facing amongst their people, and that's only driving the timeline, you know, to to what we're seeing. I look at this. I believe this is just my personal opinion. You don't have to go for, what Kara says is true. You could throw it on out for all I care. But I
They're gonna do
personally
videos
believe,
on you, Karis. Watch it.
cool.
You're gonna
Let
have
them
a
do.
hit piece done on you by Borean. Sorry.
Cool. Let them do it. Let them do it. I'm not, but at
where's your
least I
hand
can get
located at?
sources. Yeah, exactly. My
Yeah,
hands are in
we
my
want to see your
pocket.
face. We want to see your face.
My hands are in my pocket as I speak, just so I don't, you know, catch my own self looking at my own
Hands
self
in
doing
the
something crazy. Right. But I look at it like this. More than likely, you will start seeing about this time next year. We'll start seeing an
I
even
think it
more.
will be. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, myself, I'm thinking early next year, 24,
n- Well, well,
2024.
well, early next year we'll be
Um,
fighting. Early next year we'll be fighting. I think
that's
we're
what
going
I'm
to be
saying.
fighting.
But they be fighting.
Yeah,
They will
excuse me.
be fighting.
They will be
That'll be the
fighting
time.
next.
That's the time.
Exactly. They'll be
Yeah,
fighting, but
if they
here's the
fight,
thing: as they fight, guess what's going to happen? They're going to lock this place down. We're going to be shut in. There's going to be martial law.
I
There,
agree.
there will be. Now the question. Now here's the
well,
thing. Now here's the
mhm,
thing. The reason I say late
mhm.
or this time next year is because then think about what you're going to have in terms of things being depleted, right? So they're going to look at it as they're doing themselves a favor by, hey, there's a civilian corridor for you all to up and leave to go to Africa, and we got this thing figured out with the UN or the AU. They're going to look at it as a yay, they're off of our resources. Because remember, they're still in the midst of this fighting to save this nation. There's going to be those civilian
Hmm.
corridors. And guess who's going to agree to it?
I
More than likely, Russia and China will agree to it. Okay, let them all out now. Let them get to where they need to get to. I believe they'll probably give us about maybe 90 to 120 days.
mm,
You have a 3 to 4 month window.
May I comment?
Yeah, go ahead, brother Fastnickel.
mm,
So me and brother Michael, we had a conversation last Friday, and it kind of ties into what you're talking about now. So if you just look at the events and timelines, so if 2024 is the beginning where banks are making an official announcement to do away with cash. So we have 20, let's say we have January 1st as the starting line.
Mm-hmm.
We also have 2030. We also know that the 2030 agenda is 6 years away,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the comment that I made with brother Michael last week is when you look at Genesis, when the Most High said, "My spirit won't be with man, but for 120 years," I started thinking, and I said, "Well, most people don't live to be 120 years." And then it was put on me to remember that he wasn't talking about the timeline of a man being 120 years. In my opinion, he was talking about Jubilee years. And if you take 120 Jubilee years, you have a 6,000 year window. And the belief is that if you believe that, then that last Jubilee began around 2017. So we have a window of maybe to 2040, 2050. And just as you look at how the Most High dealt with the first Exodus, when the Most High steps into the forefront. So, for instance, let's say sometime in 2024 we have our Exodus. I don't believe that when the Most High steps into the forefront, He's just going to take us into the Exodus and then step back into the background. Once He steps into the foreground, that's when He will stay in the foreground and He will direct His people on what to do.
Mhm.
And at that point, because we're seeing right now how the continent is waking up and they are telling the colonizers, you can't have our resources, and we know that scripture says they are going to come for the resources. So at that point, they're not going to have this kumbaya where they say, okay, the people of the continent are the people, and we're gonna be subservient to them, because they've had this supremacy mentality. They're always going to think that they're supreme, so they're not going to allow, or at least attempt to allow us to be in control. So I can't, once this stuff really happens where the Most High intervenes, I don't see a long window of time. I mean, I think a lot of things are going to happen so fast
Mhm.
that it's not going to be 30, 40, 50 years. I personally don't see it.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was trying to say. You're already seeing the rumblings going on right now. It's not the fact that they've already said this. It's not the fact that we aren't going to go to war. It's the fact of when they want to go to war. America does wars early February, or excuse me, late February, March, April's their primary time frame. The weather is nice. Literally, the weather is
Mm-hmm.
nice. But the problem in this particular time frame is it's not going to be up for the US to dictate when they are going to go. Here's the thing, the reality of it is the economy is really messed up. They don't have the chips that they want to have. They don't have what they need to have to get to an automated economy. They have lost manpower, human capital, actual people. So for them to get
Mm.
to where they once had that, that resemblance of what of comfortability, they would need to have an automation that was comparable to what we've had, you know, when you had the people. And that people is now gone. So now you have to do what? Substitutes. And what do you substitute with? AI to do what? Basic human jobs. That's what they're fighting over. They're fighting over the next work resource. And that work resource is tied up in Taiwan. That does what? They get those chips out and going. It's not that Taiwan's going to get blown up. It's just that they're going to secure the island. This is going to be a naval battle. But that naval battle will then quickly unravel because why? Because China will float folks over to Europe. And then when Europe feels that they're going to get invaded, then guess what? Europe will fall. They'll capitulate so quickly, and then it will say, then Europe will say to US, you need to capitulate too. US will say, forget that. Chances are the US will do what the US does, and they'll have some sort of incident
Well,
in
let me
Europe.
ask you about
That's
this.
correct.
Let me. Can I explain this? Can I explain this? They'll
Yeah.
have an incident in
Go ahead.
Europe because that's the Europe doing what the Europe does. Then the Europeans will be mad, and then the
That's
Europeans will
absolutely correct.
and then the Europeans will produce documents, and then they'll say this is what they did to us, and this is an immediate, you know, war that will be declared. That's how they declare war. And guess what? The U.S. will be under a siege because they'll try to negotiate through what? We need resources, we need food, we need this, we need that. The AU at
Okay,
that
let's
time,
hold on to that.
I believe this, the AU at that time will be contacted because why? Because even the Europeans know you got to get rid of black folks. You got to take the black folks out the equation because why? Because we have a certain tendency to do what? To lift their feelings and their spirits and their hopes. Oh, we got black people here. Now we gonna be good. You take black folks away, their spirits and their hopes are dashed. Because why? Because now there's nobody that will suffer. They all will suffer. But how will you do that? You got to give them food. You go, hey, look, you leave, we send in the food. Y'all, it's so
So
crazy.
you,
It's so crazy to think about this that y'all don't even understand. These are literally the mechanisms of what drives them. Because what's their basic needs? They have security, so their security is going to be fine. But guess what? They'll run out of. They're going to run out of food. They're going to run out of water. They're going to run out of a lot of the things because remember, a lot of the services that they have, they really can't get it here on the ground because why? Because they're ports. So then what happens to those ships? Those ships turn right around. You can't have
so you
spoilage.
saying are you saying, Karis, that you said that the AU will use its resources to bargain with the
The
Europeans
Europeans,
as to,
yes,
I mean, but this is what I'm saying, as to a bargaining chip. All right, we'll give you this here, but you got to let our people go.
yes, and that's going to be through. So
Now,
the
the reason why
Europeans.
I said that, Karis, I mean, only reason I said that because that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be a bargaining chip because, all right, you in trouble already. You're freezing. You need these
Yep.
sort resources. All right, well, you know what? We'll give this to you, but you're going to let our people go. You want your people to be okay? Let our people go. And that's the reason why I said 2024. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
You know
because
what? I,
mhm.
I'm not trying. I'm just cut in just for a minute, and because Kara's joined us something, and I do want to finish hearing it. But what Michael just said ties into what I've been kind of hearing and learning, because the African nations are demanding that if the European nations want to access their minerals and their resources, to go out there and build refineries, build plants, and build manufacturing, for them, not the Europeans, but for the Africans to have control over, and then they can, start, giving them minerals and resources at cost, of course. But that's real interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so and that's what that's what I was going to tie into because somebody had just said it also. Look, Mike Pence was already saying, look, that um that our men and women, that the US, I'm going to say are as in US men and women are going to have to
Mhm.
enter into the conflict in Ukraine. So if they enter into the conflict in Ukraine, guess what? So will the Chinese. So will the North Koreans. And that will be too overwhelming. And then guess what's going to end up happening? Then those Europeans are going to see, oh no, we're going to get beat. Europeans don't like to be beat. Guess what they do? They go towards the side of victory. And if that side of victory even means siding with the people that they once, were vehemently opposing, they will do it. And then they will kick out the United States and say, look, you got to get you going. But the United States they always love to leave gifts, especially with folks that they are no longer allying with. So they'll
Here's
cause
the
an
thing.
incident, and they'll cause an incident in either France or Germany, and then that will rile them on up, and then that's when the nations turn on the U.S. But before the nations turn on the U.S. again, The nations aren't dumb. They know who they need to get out of the way, and that's us. Because
Yeah.
why? Because number one, we are that de facto cheerleader for the U.S. and their security force. Not just cheerleader. Think about it. We're also the security force. You get rid of their security force by, hey, we need to get you on out of here because why? Because then they'll say all of a sudden, let me tell you how crazy this is. Because all of a sudden they'll start to say, hey, it's human rights. And we need to make sure that their
Yep.
human rights are protected. You're laughing,
Yeah.
but I'm telling
Yeah.
you how the mechanism is going
Nah.
to go.
No, I'm laughing at
They
how
go play their card.
ridiculous that is, but you're right.
Well, what's funny
They go
is
play their card.
they can't get rid of the Second Amendment, but if they get rid of us, that's almost like getting rid of the Second Amendment.
Yep.
You got to sit there and play these cards with them. We playing spade, and they playing pity pat.
So let me ask the panel about to me what I consider the X factor. So here's the X factor. When you look at scripture, when Yeshua was asked when will we know of his return, the two things he mentioned was it'll be like the days of Noah and it'll be like the days of Lot. And when I've asked a pastor about that, they kind of say, oh, well, it's just like, it'll be like any other day, people eating and drinking. And my answer to that is no. When I've done my research on the stuff that Dante has said, the two common attributes were the angels, that they were living amongst men and interacting. So now that we see these what they want to call aliens, how do we feel that they're going to play a part as the X factor in all of this?
Jacoba, that's the question for you. I'm going to defer.
Well, for me, what I think is going to happen, I'm not sure how the aliens going to play in, because that changes the whole dynamic of the world, right? That you have these beings living amongst us, and because what they want is what we see in what is it called, Childhood's End, right? They come down, they land, right? Whether they look like a devil or not, I don't know, but probably will in some form, and they're going to bring in the peace and the technology, and they're going to let us know the reason why we advance so much is because of them, and so that they created us. That's the whole thing they've been trying to teach us, that where they seated us on this earth, right? But I don't know if that's gonna play out exactly like that, because we leave, right? And if we leave according to the scriptures, and there's a second Exodus according to the scriptures, everybody gonna be looking at Yahuwah. Everybody gonna be looking at Yeshua. So these beings gonna come and try to say, hey, we created y'all, we gave y'all tech and all that. There's gonna be a conflict there, and what they try to pull off ain't gonna really work, right? So I have a little. I mean, obviously the UFO agenda is being played right now. How it ends, I don't know. Will they come back? Because here's the thing: the Bible said that Satan was cast down to earth, right? And so, does that mean he physically on earth? I think so. And then it says, look, he know he has a short time, so basically he causing all this havoc, right? So it could work out that way, and we could have where the 10 horn nations are really occupied by both humans, non-humans, and robots, whereas in Africa we don't have all that going on. Now, I think it's going to be somewhere around it. That's just my theory.
Well, Yacoba, didn't you mention in one of your teachings that that don't be surprised when we see these tall, handsome, reddish to blonde haired men walking around? I mean, at some point with the Nephilim.
I mean, it's possible. See, we don't really know. Here's my and I talked about this in the past, but it was in my Ancient World series. And I believe that mythology has a lot of truth in it, right? And what we call like dwarfs and elves and all these things could possibly be the different types of fallen angels, what we call angels, because angels are really just messengers, right? But Eurocentric Christianity has redefined it as angels, right? But they're really other beings, they're other creations. And so if we get rid of the word angel and say these created beings, right? These higher level terrestrial beings, they could be elves and dwarfs and
No, 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 no,
imps
no, brother. The reason I answered that question is
Mhm.
because I experienced that. Like seriously. Um, I, I okay, I live in Tennessee. I was at the hospital and I saw exactly what you described. A tall and, for lack of better words, handsome. I mean, it was a white guy, of course, tall, like closer to 7 feet. And I'm serious. And he was like fixated on me. Like I didn't say a word to him, so I don't know what his fixation on me was.
Where was
And
this?
huh?
Where did you see this?
At a hospital here in Tennessee. And you know how the hospitals have these nice elaborate cafeterias, and I was just like, I was taken aback because I always refer. So in some instances, I go in the spirit, and I remembered that teaching that you had, and that thing happened. It was, you know, um, he's a cop, or at the time he was a cop, and for some reason he was just as soon as I walked into the cafeteria, he turned around and he noticed me in his line of sight. It was like bam, and I was just thinking to myself, do I know this MF, and all this kind of stuff. And I was kind of like really wary of the situation, and I was watching my back.
So
And
what
eventually,
made you think he was like a alien or angel or whatever?
well, because honestly, I mean, to me, don't get mad at me, Karis, when I say this, because I'm not being pejorative when I say when I say this.
Why you put my name in this?
Because it's your platform.
Yeah, then you should know what am I?
No, no,
All right, get me kicked off. Okay, get me kicked off. All right.
no, I ain't gonna say. All I'm gonna say is that this dude was extremely good looking. He was extremely handsome, like beyond, you know, Brad Pitt type of handsome.
Like David
So,
Hasselhoff.
damn. Hey, I ain't even touching that one. He said David Hasselhoff, but it's huh? No, go ahead.
Hajatan, he got beside himself because the scriptures clearly state he was one of the most beautiful angels. Don't forget it now. He got beside himself because.
No, go ahead, Michael.
Well, if anybody if anybody's listened to or seen the stuff by Admiral Byrd, when he went to Antarctica, he said he saw woolly mammoths. Mm-hmm. He saw, when we talk about these aliens, they have some that look like your traditional ET, and then he said they had some that were, blonde and blue-eyed. And right after that is when they said, "Hey, nobody can go to Antarctica now."
Yeah, and they had that treaty where all the nations signed it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing, and that's the thing. I'm not of that Skittles community, but I'm not blind either. I mean, I ain't seen in my lifetime a white dude looking to that magnitude. Like, he can have 50 women if he wanted them, but yet he was fixated. Of all the people in that cafeteria, he was like really fixated on me. Like his cop partner would come and talk to him, but yet he was focused on me. I was so paranoid to the point to where I went to another cop in the hospital, gave my ID, and asked him to run my name if I have any warrants or anything like that. If I was on any watch list. I mean, so it just brought me back to that teaching, Jacoba. What is what my point was. So yes, I believe in it. I believe
Yeah.
everything you said at what I see anymore.
Well,
But
you know,
don't
they
forget
all,
that they clone people too. But go ahead, fast Nick.
I would say, you know, they say that they give you an indication through their movies, and I've told friends, if you've seen the first Kong versus Godzilla, when they took Kong to Antarctica, that was them telling you that there is a world under the earth that people just don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
I can believe it.
Hollow Earth? Are you talking about Hollow Earth, bro?
Right, the whole hollow earth. And you notice how in the movie you couldn't just get, like, once you got there, you couldn't just get into hollow earth. Like, there was like a chasm. So there's something, although from time to time we may see, let's say, like a Bigfoot, if we want to say that that is part of that whole realm. You know, from time to time we may see something, but we don't see it on an everyday occurrence. And maybe because there's some kind of chasm or some kind of invisible field that prevents them from just constantly being with us. And maybe the way that they do it is through these crafts that they come up. Because as Brother Yakova said, you know, people like to try to think that these things are coming from the outside coming into our world, whereas really they're underneath us coming up.
Mm.
And if we look at the history, right, even for the book of Enoch, the angels were teaching mankind how to make the technology. What makes us think anything has changed over the thousands of years? They're just hidden and teaching mankind the same, thing, teaching technology. Because remember, all of the major world wonders we can't really do today. We're like, well, how did they build something so large and so big, right? It's because of angel tech, right? And so I think that's what Freemasonry is that Freemasonry has always had a connection with the fallen. And that's how they got a jump on us and invaded us with rifles and guns and all these things because, they've been working with the fallen from the beginning.
Correct.
Well, Jacob, I can see. I mean, why the wicked hates your lessons because you are deadly accurate, bro. I mean, you could blindfold you, spin you around, and throw a dart, and you'll still hit the bullseye from 1,000 feet away. So, like I said, I can kind of see see why people fear whenever they see Tail Ministries coming on.
You know what, but
May I just add to
your
that
comment,
conversation?
If somebody's looking at you like that, bro, no, don't get it twisted. A lot of these people that call themselves warlocks and things of that nature, they conversate with the demons, and those demons know exactly who these the apple of Yah's eyes, the kid, his children, his chosen ones. They know who we are. If you ever walk in and you got somebody's attention, they know who you are.
Yeah.
They know, period. And this stuff, back in the days, it used to be what you call dark talk. People didn't too much talk about it. Now, the demons, wicked witchcraft, they're showing themselves. They're letting you know what they do. They're letting you know what they practice. They're letting you know what type of wicked angel they call upon. They let you know this in this time of the end. How is it that we waking up and they're exposing themselves without us saying anything? Why is this? Oh, all of a sudden you got all these UFOs. Why? If you ever and these people start looking upon you and they staring at you, yeah, you better trust and believe. All right, you may be attractive, but there's something else that's more going on in whatever beauty we all may have or whatever gifts we may have. It's a whole lot more than that, because these wicked angels know exactly who we are and who we descend from.
And if I can add to that, what the brother was saying, you know, they're watchers, you know, so good, bad, indifferent, ugly, avenging angels, they're still scaring the cadoodle out of like our enemy. So we are not to be afraid. But there are different, like probably dimensional things, because a lot of those descriptions, has anybody read like in the book of Enoch, the land of Nod, you know, that intermixing, especially up, it was in the cold areas. So the brother is right that a lot of it is, they're probably within on the earth, because what happened to the souls or the spirits or the energy of the giants that were, you know, in Noah's time, you know, their children, the ones that talked to Enoch and was hoping that wanted Enoch to intercede with them for them to the Most High, but the Most High told them, no, you're out. But there was no place for them in heaven. There was no place for them on earth. So there, a lot of those too are intermediate. Like our Creator has a lot of species of all kind. We see insect species, we see flower species, we see fungi species. So we understand that a lot of these terrestrial AI, whatever, a lot of these things are a diverse group. So some are definitely wicked, some are definitely indifferent, and some are there to just put a banging on our enemy, just like some of our patriarchs who were fighting, and there were angels of the Most High fighting for and with them. In addition, I have to say, brother Fast Nickel, that Jubilees calculation, I think, is definitely very spot on, especially if we read the book of Jubilees, or the little book of Jubilees. Again, those are like some apocryphal texts. And then just a lot of, thank you so much for all those poignant thoughts for us to think about. But yeah, they're watchers, and they're taking notes, and some are definitely for us, because if we did see the angels that are for us, we'd fall and pass out and wake up and pass out again. So we have to understand that all this is for our covering and for our blessing and for our protection as well.
All right. Hallelujah. Final thoughts. Gotta wrap this on up. This has been a good one. This has been a good one.
Now I go. We we seen. I never would have thought in a million years, that I will be living to witness um, the events of us waking up. Because when I was a child, shoot, they taught us that we was Hamites. So I'm like, all right. And then that curse that was upon Ham. And I think there was a lot of the understanding when it came to us.
Mm-hmm.
And but man, I'm so grateful that Yah has has woke me up, because I mean, like I said, I started off with this what do they call it, the E1B1 thing. But once I really truly got into the E1, I did. I had my mother's side is Igbo, father's side is Yoruba, and Nigeria. And so, but when I got into it and things, I was like, wait a minute, it's kind of a conflict, because it was said that Esau was E1B1B. I was like, how is that? I said, his father. You saying that his father. And so it got into a conflict, and I just boiled it all down. I said, look here, I'm not going to put an E1B1 B or A or whatever in front of the scriptures, because that's the thing I went back to. And I talked to some brothers about it. I said, you believe in that like it's the Torah. I said, it was a man who came up with this here. And I said, and man is flawed. But then you had brothers on there speaking like as if they was an expert at it. And that what got me away from it. And I just really started holding to the scriptures. And that's what got me away from the teachings of Jehovah's Witnesses, because a lot of their information is from books outside of the scriptures. Then I started reasoning reasoning. What did the apostles, the prophets, our Messiah, they never quoted about any other book outside of the Bible. Never. Why is it that we got to quote from that we got to get understandings from somebody's writings and say, hey, this is what this scripture means? And I tell brothers and sisters down to this very day, stick to the scriptures. If you want to learn something, God said, ask him. He is willing to teach us. And he has proven that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of brothers and sisters out here that ask God to teach, and they explain scriptures where you can understand them. Then you're gonna have individuals who, we got individuals that got different gifts. Instead of us respecting the gifts of our brothers and sisters, some of us get jealous. And we bring, no, that don't mean that, and ain't no such thing. But now I believe in the 400-year prophecy. I do, very firmly. You had some that was teaching about the 400-year prophecy and then came back and backtracked. And when they backtracked, I looked at the scripture, I'm like, what do Stephen have to do with the 400-year prophecy? You said it is not correct. That this did happen with Egypt. And it didn't make no sense. But I still respected the brothers and sisters because they got some good information on widening out and the widening of this and that. But when it's all over said and done, let us continue to respect our brothers and sisters. If you don't agree with something that is not death defying, now, when I say death defying, because I don't too much rock with brothers that say they say they Israel, but they don't believe in the Messiah. So that's just my choice. I go with the brothers. Oh, no, we believe in the Messiah, and so and so, so and so, and that's who I cling with, and to each his own. However your path is. Let y'all continue to move you. But me on my part, I'm about keeping respect, keeping peace, and staying in my lane. I do not. And I say this, and I say this to all our brothers and sisters, stay in your lane. If you got a brother that's teaching this here, and you think you know more than him, and that brother started the teaching, you need to stay in your lane because he started the teaching. Respect the brother and move on, or assist the brother. And that's the thing that hindered Israel. Everybody want to be top dog above one another. And that's still going on down to this very day. This very day, we're doing the same thing. And I would say to all of us, let's just work as one, because we're two sticks. We're coming together. No matter how you see it, it's going to happen. Either you will fall in line or you will fall to the wayside. Shalom.
All right, thank you, brother Mike. Yeah, and if you all didn't know, we with brother Mike and I, we work together every day, and we're working together with getting solutions, doing things that's for the continent and for the diaspora. We do emergency preparedness plannings, meetings, different working on apps and other types of solutions. Working on and this is awesome. This is what the Most High has done. We are able to get basically unlimited medical supplies to the continent. We just need to have the resources to get them there. We need to have the resources to get them there. And those resources just means funds. We have the supplies. We just need the funds. The one company that we partner with, it takes them about 35,000. They find a person that is, or a company or organization that will donate 35,000. Again, they're 501c3. But they're telling us, they said, look, we need your help with Quest Unite Africa. And I believe that, family. I believe that we can do that. I believe that we have the people in place that we can get that knocked out, and we can do it at a reduced price. That's what we work on. We work on connecting with our brothers and sisters on the continent. We work on finding out, look, how do we do this? How do we do that? How do these efforts are not in vain because the Most High is literally leading the effort, and it's an awesome thing to see. All right, who's next in closing?
I'll, I'll go ahead and close up next. Um, what I want to do is piggyback on what Brother Michael said about the non-messianic Israelites. Y'all might want to rethink that, because just like Brother Jacob and Brother Karras have both said, if that's how you want to live, you really need to get a whole lot of things in order. You need to know when the feast days are. You need to get your sacrifices in order and find you some mores. There's a whole lot you got to do instead of, just trusting and believing in the Son, and, believing and trusting in what He says, that no one gets to the Father but by me. And also, there's a curse that comes with not believing Him, because then you're looked at as an antichrist, the
Hmm.
devil. So, like I said, those non-messianics, please pray, do some self-inventory, and check yourselves, and just come around to the truth with the rest of us. I'm also glad that my eyes are witnessing the diaspora starting to come together. I thought I'd never see it in my lifetime or my child's lifetime. So this is happening at an accelerated rate, even, beyond a lot of our wildest imaginations. It's really going down. And lastly, I close with this. I, and I don't want to sound like I'm beating down on anyone who is doing it, and I hope nobody is. But sometimes it's better to go hungry. I mean, you go by that street um, logic. If someone is selling you a Sig Sawyer weapon for $100, you better get you some insulated gloves, because that thing is hella hot. It and I say that in regards to these burgers. I know it's tempting. I know it is 1 cent, 50 cent. If you go to Burger King, free. I know it is tempting. Money's tight. You can stack up on 20 of those, be good for 2 or 3 days.
Hmm.
Just use your own discernment, family. Really think about that. I'm not telling you to starve. I would starve, but I'm not telling you that you should do that. Just, pray about it, and just use discernment. Seek counsel with other brothers and sisters in the truth, and then just decide wisely. With that, I say shalom.
All right, shalom. Thank you, brother Rojo.
Shalom, everyone.
All right, brother Asa.
Yahusha is the horn of salvation that was raised up to deliver us
Hmm.
from our enemies and those that hate us, in Luke 1, verse 68 to 71. And in Isaiah 49, verse 25 and 26, there's a prophecy that we're going to be delivered from our enemy that is stronger than us, and they will drink their own blood. And we know that we're in the time now where we're going to be delivered, because our enemy has been more powerful than us. They've had better technology than us. We were peaceful people, farmers, and they came with their fire sticks to Africa and their boats, and they took us. But Yahuwah promised that He's going to restore us once we turn to Him. It says in Hebrews 11:15, if we were mindful of the land from whence we came, we would have returned. And we're mindful of that land now. And also in 1 Kings 8:47, it says that if we turn to the land and pray, then Yahuwah will maintain our cause. And the same thing applies to the Gentiles as well that are listening in. You know, if they turn to Yahuwah, and if we all turn to Yahuwah and keep our minds focused on him, he will continue to put the hurting on our enemies and deliver us from the hands of those who have disdained us for the past 400 to 500 years. I believe in my heart that he will not disappoint the expectation of the righteous. And all of us here never thought we'd be speaking to one another. You know, if you talked to me 20 years ago, I couldn't stand an American, and an American couldn't stand me. 30 years ago, I couldn't stand an African, and an African couldn't stand me. But yet I've been married to one for many, many years now. And I believe in my heart that we haven't got long to go. We only have to keep holding on now, because we're in the last round of this fight now, and we're about to be declared the champions.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Brother Asaph.
I'll go. I'll make it short.
All right. Thank you,
So
Brother Troublemaker. I'm glad you didn't cause me trouble.
I I told you I'm tired.
Amen to that.
You know, all I gotta say is, you know, for our people, we have to be critical thinkers and critical researchers, and you know, a lot of us, I'm not sure, have the ability to really do research and understand things. You know, like even when I was first looking into who we were, you know, I contacted Dante because I knew Dante, and I knew Dante would go into details, right? If it was BS, Dante will say it's BS. If it was true, he'll say it's true. And there's not a lot of people who I would go to like that, right? Who I respect their research. But everybody can't do that, right? Everybody can't research like Dante does. And so when we look at what other people teach and say, you know, you have to do several things. You have to look at their track record. You have to see what they taught before, as if does it still line up, and prophetically wise, has it come to pass? And so, you know, when we see all these things happening, there's one thing you're gonna notice, right? To say that, and I'm going to the idea of uh, the Middle East being Israel. Where's the prophecies happening now? Is the prophecies happening in the Middle East? Is the prophecies happening in modern Israel? Or are the prophecies coming to pass on the continent? Some things are just simple, right? Some things are simple. Ask yourself the simple question: where's the prophecies coming to pass? They're on the continent. Where was God's land divided? It was obviously during the scramble for Africa. I'm like, some things are just simple, you know, it's not that complex. And so, like, you know, people come in and they say, well, you know, here's the borders, you know, these are the borders, and they give us the borders of modern day Israel, and give us the borders of Arabia. And then they say, well, they say that Israel and Jerusalem is desolate, but yet people living in modern Israel, people living in Arabia, right? Desert places, but it's supposed to be desolate, but people are there. So then obviously your understanding of desolate is probably flawed, right? And so, you know, these are some of the things that I think our people have an issue with common basic questions, right? You just have to ask the simple things and you will end up with the right conclusion. It's not that hard. But I think a lot of us have an issue with uh letting go of the pastor worship or the moray worship, and you know, we lean to just what they say, and we don't do like the Bereans to see whether those things are so. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna cut it short. What's about to happen, you better be critical thinkers. What's about to happen is what's coming is gonna be worse than the last 3 years, right? I mean, we're getting out of here. I do believe it's close. I agree with the panel. You know, with Karras and them. I personally think within this next year or two, we out. That's my opinion. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. Is Jacoba's opinion. But understand this: if you're not a critical thinker, you will be deceived. They will once again make you convinced that you need to get a lollipop, right? they're going to make you acquiesce and say, you know what, in order to feed my children, I need a chip in my right hand or a tattoo in my right hand and forehead. You're going to take the mark of the beast, because they're going to put the fear, they're going to put hunger on you, they're going to shut you out the system. You ain't going to get your tokens, because you ain't going to have access to cash no more. Right? This is where we're at. These are the problems we have right now. And see these Gentiles, they're getting there. Just watch. Right now, if you have critical eyes, you can see that these curses are flipping and it's on them and they can't understand it. They're like, let's get our guns. Let's get our guns. Guns ain't going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
People going to preach money, but money ain't going to help you. That's what the scripture says. Money ain't going to help you in these days. That's all I got to say. Love y'all. Looking forward to seeing y'all on the continent. Peace out.
All right. Hallelujah. Thank you, Brother Yakoba. Who's next?
I can try to. Can you hear me? My service is acting weird.
Yeah,
I
we can
think.
hear you. Go ahead, Sister
All
Nubian Me.
right. So just keeping it simple. I agree with everything the elders and the brothers said, but looking at Luke 21, and looking at Luke 21 chapter, verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, and the seas and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, as Jehovah says, always says, for your redemption draw nigh. And he spake to them, parable, behold the fig tree, all the trees, when they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim is at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away, as y'all spoke, till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away, as Mashiach says. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with suffering and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that the day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. We all gonna feel it. Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy, yes, Yahweh Elohim, to escape all these things that shall come to pass and stand before the Son of Man. So that's all I have to say. And I thank y'all for the iron sharpen iron and the feast and building and working on this family unit so that we can come be strong for his kingdom. Give thanks.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Sister Nubian Me. Who's next?
I'll go. Yeah. Before I eat a 1 cent burger, I definitely like try to catch a couple of grasshoppers in my lawn or something before I eat that 1 cent burger. But uh, anyway, um, yeah, I'm starting to realize now that we're all really gonna face whatever is gonna come soon, and we all have to face it as a family and stay prayed up and hold on to the faith. And yeah, I just had to get on and give that praise report, as you say. I said I would because when it happened, I said hallelujah. Uh, Abba, I'm going to let them know what you just did for me, um, and to not lose faith. And uh, yeah, as Israelite prepper would say, is when the shizzy hits the fizzy. I hope you know you have your faith. And I'm out. Peace. Shalom.
All right, thank you, brother Garth. Yes, and that is an awesome praise report that brother Garth has gone through, and that means um, look, please help to support Quest Unite Africa because this thing is going to grow, and when it grows, remember we have our young men and young women that will be here doing this full time full time because this thing is going to pick up legs and we'll have more about that. Next one, it looks like it's you, brother Fast Nickel.
Everybody has said everything I don't need to say anymore.
All right, thanks, brother Fast Nickel. All right, I'll be chatting with you later on. Hallelujah. All right, so yes, the cracks in the system. We talked about the rapture. We talked about these banks, the Russia, China, the security packs, all these good things. There's a lot of things that can get your head spinning, but remember, it is the Most High that we always look to through His Son Yahushua Hamashiach. So again, for those that are rapture heavy, that believe they're about to be out on the 23rd, please make sure that you take the time and write a check to Quest to Unite Africa. That's Quest to Unite Africa, the number 2, and Africa with the K. All right. Since you're not going to be here on the 23rd anyway, just send us all your money. Send that on over, and you'll help the Exodus. So I'm just letting y'all know, okay? Just all your money, send it on over. Definitely, if you have over 100,000 or 200,000, that would definitely help us. And maybe when you're on that when you go to the mercy seat, you can you can tell the Most High how you were able to help His people. So
Or they can leave the deed to the property, and you know what? We can flip it.
yes, sign the deed. Yeah, just put QTUA. QTUA, whatever you got, just make sure that you at least you leave a voice message or send an email. Let us know where we can, pick things on up after you done got raptured away. I'm just saying. But on the 24th, you ain't gonna ask for no refunds. Oh no, that check is gonna get cashed immediately. I'm here. It's the 24th. No. All right. All right, family. Well, this is a good live. Appreciate you all support. Appreciate your prayers. Thank you for supporting Quest 2 Night Africa. You can do that by visiting quest2nightafrica.org if you're led to do so. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, most high willing, I'll be back on Wednesday. Please join us for our Quest 2 Night Africa discussion on Friday. Lots of things to discuss because family, it doesn't stop in the continent. Oh my goodness. It's not. We'll see what Friday looks like. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Peace and blessings. Yasharel.